presents are the best way to show someone how much you care. It is like a tangible thing that you can point to and say, hey man, I love you. This many dollars worth.
Have we figured out whether or not that Palworld dating game was an April Fool's joke or not?
Kilted Cajun coming in early with the 10. Dude, honestly, I have no idea. But we're going to talk about it in a minute. Dude, thank you for the super chat, dude. Holy crap. I'm still half asleep here trying to get ready. Appreciate you, dude. Give me 1 minute. Yo, Leon, if you're in there, I can't hear you yet because I haven't gone and switched scenes yet, but I'll get you in here in 1 second, buddy.
Do I need to be liked? Absolutely not. I like to be liked. Do I need to be liked? Absolutely not. I like to be liked. I enjoy being liked.
Yo, you gotta chill, guys. You gotta chill with this, man. We are just now getting started, and we've already got $10 gifted donation from Kilted Cajun, and of course we got freaking Leon with the 5 gifted memberships. That's not why I brought you here, man. you don't gotta feel pressured to be donating, but I appreciate you, dude. Let me get this music killed off. All right, guys. So it's a little early. I know we normally start around 9:30, but when I do these streams on Wednesday, I really want to get kind of a jump on things because I have people coming in from other parts of the country, and I hate to drag things out. So I'm gonna jump into, let me see if I have this here. Well, I might be able to show Leon on the screen here. Give me 1 second, guys. Let me get the music turned off. Oh, let me see if I've got this screwed up or not, dude. All right, my dude, you are in.
Yo, what up? Can you hear me?
I can hear you just fine. If anybody in chat wants to tell you if you need to turn your volume up, we will do so when we need to. Thank you for joining me, man.
Dude, happy to do it. Also, screw you with this whole, oh, you're not obligated. I know I'm not obligated. I do it because I want to, man. I love to support the homies, whether I'm on stream with them or not. Like, you know, we all in this game together.
That's, boy, isn't that for real, though. It's really funny, too, because for a while, I always felt like, yeah, I'm just kind of doing my own thing or whatever. And then it's always worked out that when I get connected to the wrong people, it bites me in the ass. But there's, like, a group of people on YouTube that have never, like, I've never been worried about getting screwed around with, and you're in that group, so I appreciate you, dude.
No, I appreciate you. And, like, I ran into the same boat. Like, for the first several months of doing YouTube, it was just a straight up solo thing. And then a couple people found me pretty early on, called Classic Cage, Hypno, and since then, I've never really had bad experiences with creators. And they say like, oh, look around the room, and if you can't find the asshole, you're the asshole. I'm like, oh no, but I've never met any assholes. Does that mean I'm actually the problem and no one's told me?
No, come on. You know that since then, I'm sure you've met your fair share. We've both ran across a few of them at this point, I'm pretty sure.
True, but there were people that like I've always kind of had an issue with from the jump. I've never had anyone like stab me in the back or nothing. Like obviously, it's pretty apparent that I'm not a fan of certain folks from the old bounding into comics regime, and like
exactly
never was to begin with. So like it wasn't like, oh, we were tight and then they backstabbed me. It was like, oh, they already didn't like me, so screw them.
Yeah. Well, I mean, here I am platforming an SJW, like. Dear Lord,
Apparently
what's wrong
so.
with me? What's wrong with me? All right, so before we jump too much into it, and it's going to take a minute. My chat is used to me being here at like 9:30 and later, so things are going to start picking up in a minute. So I figure we'll talk about the Nintendo stuff in about 10-15 minutes, if that's cool with you.
It's fine by me. It's all fresh on the noggin. I just got done making a video on it. I also got done watching it because that shit was way too early for me.
Dude, I haven't even watched, like I've seen the trailers from a few of the games. I have not sat down and watched the entire Nintendo Direct. I'm not going to. What I'm more curious about is like the actual pricing, the way that they're doing like their online shit, having the fact that if you want to use the built-in microphone for the new Switch, you have to pay for the online subscribe, like the whole thing, like, or at least the chat feature. So for me personally, there's a lot of that other crap that I'm more worried about than the actual reveal trailers, but we'll get into that in a minute.
Yeah, it's definitely a mixed bag. I think it's gonna be fun to talk about, but yeah, by all means.
Oh yeah.
Make them wait a little bit. Leave them wanting more.
Exactly. So Kilted Cajun came in before we got started with the 10. Do you know Kilted Cajun? This dude is freaking awesome, man.
I do not. I love Cajun. Back when my streams were early in the day, 3 o'clock, because I used to him at 3 o'clock, which was like 1 o'clock for you. He was never able to come on because the time differential, not time differential, we're on the same time zone, but like his work schedule. Now that I've moved my streams to 6 o'clock, I need to see about getting him on again because Kilted is a great dude. I only had him on.
We had a great conversation. Holy cow.
It's also happened 3 different times where he and I don't talk super often. Mine's like in the comment sections or like occasionally like comments on X, but we don't like message very frequently. However, on 3 separate occasions, he and I made thumbnails about the exact same subject with the exact same wording, and it was complete like happenstance. So there was this weird period of time where like, yo, Leon and Kilted in this. He goes like, no, it just so happened that we have the same mentality of what words to put on thumbnails.
Yeah, it's like you guys have one of those DM groups in the background going on right now.
Right.
Hey, they say that great minds think alike, so that's pretty cool.
Yeah. So what's our excuse?
I don't know, because we're nothing alike. I mean, you're not a tall guy, right?
Me and Kilted's, but
oh, you're Kilted. Okay,
we're definitely nothing alike because you're talented.
Oh, hey now. I think you are probably one of the more entertaining live streamers, so I would say right back at you.
Well, thank you.
All right, so that being said, I wanted to touch on this real quick. Not really, there's not a whole lot to say about it, but Val Kilmer dying at 65. I mean, we all knew that he was in bad health. I mean, it's not been any big secret, right?
Yeah.
But this one kind of stung because with all I'm sure you saw a lot of the retarded April. How do you feel about April Fool's jokes, especially on social media?
When I was younger, they bothered me because I am a gullible moron. Very much like I only saw one to my knowledge, and it was from Niche Gamer, which is an outlet I love. I follow. I think they're one of the best, like quote unquote, culture war gaming outlets. And they posted Square Enix was just bought by Microsoft for $6 billion. And the moment I saw, I was like, "That's not real. That's fake."
I had to click on the link. I had to read it. I'm like, wait a second, no. And then as soon as I saw it was fake, I put that GIF. Yeah, shoot that guy. Yeah, I'm done with this crap.
That's great.
Hey, Oblithian and Angry Wolverine, glad to have you guys here. Yeah, so no, this is one of those things, like, I was never, like, the biggest Val Kilmer fan, like okay, so I grew up watching, obviously, Willow and Top Gun, and then, of course, a little bit later on saw Tombstone, so, you did very, very classic Val Kilmer roles, but he was one of these guys that I was like, oh, I have to see everything he's in, but yeah, he was a really talented actor, and it kind of reminds me of how years ago, back when Patrick Swayze passed away, it was one of those things.
I remember that like it was yesterday because I was a big Patrick Swayze fan. And
right.
Frankly, unpopular opinion about Val Kilmer, he's my favorite Bruce Wayne. Always has been. It's a bad Batman movie, and I don't think he's a great Batman, but as far as like the character of Bruce Wayne, I think Val Kilmer was the best Bruce Wayne.
Right. Terrible movie. Absolutely one of the worst movies of all
Terrible
time.
Movie. Terrible movie. But like his performance as Bruce Wayne, I thought like he was the guy.
Yeah, indefensibly bad movie. My wife, she didn't remember how bad it was because she was a huge Jim Carrey fan growing up. And so I told her, I'm like, you do remember that they had like a plug, like a they were sucking people's brainwaves out through the TVs, right? With Tommy Lee Jones as Two-Face, I'm like, hell no, I can't
He
even.
plays like the Joker for whatever reason. Like,
Right. He's like the Two-Face Joker. It doesn't even make any sense. It's crazy. Well, and Jim Carrey's the Riddler.
Bring Billy D. Williams back to do Two-Face. Like, you
Oh.
already had him in continuity as Harvey Dent. What are you doing?
Right, that was the weirdest thing. But then again, at that point, they'd already switched Batman's from, they went to Val Kilmer from Michael Keaton. So at that point, it's kind of like a different iteration of Batman. So whatever, but still. Hey, didn't the guy that played Alfred stay the same actor for all 4 movies?
All 4 movies. Yep. Sure was.
That's insane. Why did they not switch him? They switched everybody else out.
I don't know. Like, those movies are so weird to me because, and this is going to be, I don't know, maybe it's a hot take, maybe it's not. I'm not sure. I have a love-hate relationship with all 4 of those movies. I feel like all 4 of them do certain things right, some more than others, certain things wrong. Like Michael Keaton is not exactly a comic accurate Batman. Like, he kills people and shit like that. But it's a great movie. I love it.
I
It's
prefer
fun,
that
but
kind of Batman, though, to be honest.
I do as well. Ben Affleck is probably my favorite Batman.
Right.
if I'm being real.
Unpopular opinion. I really like Ben Affleck as Batman. Yeah. But again, to be fair, it's one of those things that, again, you're not going to get necessarily the most comic accurate character in a movie when you're trying to appeal to people like I didn't read comics growing up, so I'm a normie, right? When it comes to comics, I just want something entertaining if I'm watching a movie based on a comic character. So I don't really, at that point, I don't care if it's necessarily comic accurate as long as they nail the entertainment factor, which is unfortunately kind of the situation the MCU's fallen into where it's not even entertaining anymore. But that's...
And I'll take you back to like 2002 because I did grow up reading comics. I'm actually a really big comic fan, and my go-to is always Spider-Man. I'm a massive Spider-Man fan. He's my favorite superhero. And 2002, the Spider-Man movie comes out, and I loved it. I adored it. Thought it was perfect, except he had organic web shooters, and little kid Leon hated that. I was like, why? It's so upsetting. It's not like the comics. And I grow up. I'm an adult. I rewatched. I was like, actually, this works really well for the movie. I was just being a little kid who just wanted everything to be exactly like the comics. But as an adult, I'm like, I actually like it. I think it works.
No, we haven't covered it yet, John. We are still we're still working our way there. We're easing into it because there's so much Nintendo stuff to talk about. I wanted to give everyone a chance to funnel in here. So, but yeah, for me,
couldn't have picked a better one to have me on for, by the way, because I don't know about you. I'm a Nintendo fanboy. Like,
I'm a
Nintendo fanboy.
Have you ever owned a PlayStation?
Oh yeah. I owned every PlayStation up through the PS4. I skipped down the PS5, and that's when I made the switch to PC Master Race. It was about 3 years ago. My PS4 shit out, and I switched to PC.
I have never owned a PlayStation in my entire life. Now that was because I grew up. So we were a very I'm gonna say brand loyal family. We always owned Ford. We never owned a Chevy for whatever reason. Didn't make sense. So we grew up on Nintendo. Never owned a PlayStation. So I grew up hating PlayStation. The first other console besides Nintendo that we owned. We had an Atari back in the day, but we went from Atari to Nintendo to every generation up to GameCube, and then I bought an Xbox. And I was like, all right, Halo. Halo's cool.
OG Xbox is great.
Oh yeah,
I love the
my
OG
original Xbox. I got used on eBay for $99, and the things reeked of cigarette smokes. The tray for the disc was like ka-ching, ka-ching. Every time it would spin that disc, you could hear it just kind of clunking around in there, and it worked for years. Never had a problem. So that being said,
I bought my PS3 off a cocaine dealer for $100 back when they were still like $600 because he just needed his fix. I won't even lie.
Hey, welcome back, Hilton Cajun. Yeah, thanks again for the 10, dude. Appreciate it. We're not the same person? No. But I think a lot of us think alike on a lot of things, despite the fact that most of us say, hey, think for yourself. So I grew up with this weird animosity towards PlayStation. It was like one of those things. I got into the gamer, the console war shit, and I was just like, oh, no, PlayStation sucks. Ew, square circle X is not a real controller. If it doesn't have AVY, it's not a real controller, right? And now, after I've had a PC, my first PC here that I built over 5 years ago now, I suddenly realized the console wars are retarded. None of it matters.
For sure.
None of it. Just play whatever you like. Use whatever console you like. Use whatever. I truly don't care. The only thing I'll shit on is Apple. I hate Apple, but.
Oh, yeah, I'm also an Apple hater, 100%. And to be fair, with the brand loyalty stuff in general, not even with gaming, we grew up in a very similar way. But I'm a divorced child, and my mother hated video games in general. She was diehard against it, with the exception.
Right there with you. And my parents got divorced when I was 16, so I get it.
She loathed game, but she loved Nintendo because she grew up with one. So in my mother's household, that was what we were allowed to have, Nintendo. That's about it. And then my dad was just a nerd in general. He always was PlayStation. So that's why I was best of both worlds. I played both. And then And yes, otherwise probably would have been in the exact same boat as you. It was like Nintendo ride or die. Never play a PlayStation. But since my dad had them, I would visit him every other weekend, and I grew to love the PlayStation.
Rob myself a little Big Planet. Yeah, man, there are so many games I missed. I've never played a single God of War game, and now recently, after like people have been so critical of like God of War Ragnarok and stuff, I just never really. I'm like, I don't really feel like getting back into it. I feel like now if David Jaffe made a new God of War game, it'd be crap anyways. So
for sure.
Yeah, I no longer have any faith in the franchise.
What worries me is, did you miss Resident Evil or Devil May Cry? Because those are the two, man.
I never played Devil May Cry. I've played a handful of Resident Evil games. So I've played 0. I played the remake of, I think it was 3. I played part of that. I played
terrible,
4. 4 is fantastic, but of course that came out on the GameCube, so it was kind of like catered towards me.
At the time it was a Nintendo exclusive, and I think it's to this day one of the greatest games of all time. It holds up. I play it like once a year.
It would probably play better on controller. I was trying to play it last year. I picked it up on Steam real cheap, and I was trying to play. It wasn't the remaster; it was just the original, and it did not play well on mouse and keyboard. I'm like, I can't do this. Yeah, no, not so much.
I've never tried to play it mouse and keyboard. But oddly enough, the best version, since you say you're a Nintendo guy, is the Wii version. The motion controls for that game are so butter. The aiming is the best it's ever been. Like I recommend everybody play the Wii version of Resident Evil 4. It's kind of insane how good it is.
The Ragnarok hate is probably the biggest miss of the anti-woke movement. Yes, I know the black girl race swap is cringe. Yeah, see, my only problem with the black girl race swap in a game like Ragnarok is the fact that, you know, you're talking about a Jotun character, I believe, right? Angrboda, one of the giants, and it's like, why the hell? She's the daughter of Loki, am I correct? Like, it doesn't make sense. It just doesn't fit. It's kind of like the black elves on Rings of Power. It's not a race thing. It just doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, it's an immersion thing. And I didn't play Ragnarok. I am a Ragnarok hater, not for any sort of anti-woke reasons. I do like the original 3 God of War games. I think they're great. I just think they're it's literally Devil May Cry, but with Greek gods instead. Like, they're the quintessential hack and slash games. And then when the fourth one, the God of War 2018 or whatever came out, or 2016, it wasn't a hack and slash game. It wasn't the same game. It was too much. It was too cinematic. It was too much like a movie. There's too many scripted walking sections. I'm like, this isn't the same. So I'm not even going to try the sequel because I already was disappointed with the first one. So yeah, I'm a hater for the modern ones for literally no political or agenda reason whatsoever. I just fuck them. I'm tired of video games in general feeling like movies.
Yeah. So on the Val Kilmer thing, did you see that Deadline completely screwed up the photo they put in there? They used Michael Keaton instead of Val Kilmer.
No, wait, really?
Yeah. So it says, remembering Val Kilmer in photos.
They just fucked up?
I think they just effed up. But here's the thing. He died on...
Sorry, I should ask, swearing on your channel.
Oh, no, you're fine. You're fine to do that. I don't care. My thing...
Just making sure.
No. So I've explained this, but I'll explain it again. I curse. I just try to keep it to a minimum because so I just got done with my daughter's softball game. Tomorrow we've got one of my son's baseball games. The next night we have another one of my son's baseball games. I'm around so many kids and stuff that I just try to like mentally not do it as often. Because dude, I've cursed up a storm before. I used to not have any filter. Like when I first started streaming on Twitch like years ago, me and my buddies, it's like every other word is F this, F that. It's just, I'm just trying to behave, you know?
No, I can appreciate that. I mean, like you, I'm a parent and whatnot. And when it's me and my kid at home, I don't care. I'll say whatever. However, I love taking her to the mall. We love going out and doing stuff in public. And in public, I'm like, okay, at least look like, pretend you're a good father and don't say the
exactly.
Yeah,
no, I get it. No, it happens plenty for me, and my kids have heard me curse and stuff. It's just, it's one of those things. Like, it's a personal habit thing more than anything else. That's it. I don't care what you say, how you say it. It doesn't bother me. It's not like for a YouTube reason. I know most of the time, it's after the first 5 minutes, YouTube doesn't care what you say. It's a personal thing. So go, just do whatever you want. Don't censor yourself. Let me see. Hey, Blu-ray, a Vernum. Last time I played a Nintendo game was in 1997. Then I got my first PC on Christmas. You switched to PC back in 1997. How was, I mean, other than like Diablo, how was PC gaming back in the day? Because like I had Age of Empires and shit.
Because I was actually playing on PC around the same time by complete accident. My granny, she passed last year. Love her to death. Greatest woman of all time. Truly my hero. And she was diagnosed with cancer in the mid-90s, and so she couldn't get out and do like a lot of the yard work and things she used to do. And so in her 50s, she thought, well, let's try this video game stuff. And she started by getting a PC and a Dreamcast.
Oh my
I think
God.
the Dreamcast came a little bit later. That was like 98, 99. But like, she was like playing, and I was like 4 years old. So she probably shouldn't have been letting me do this, but she was playing like Duke Nukem with me. But we were also playing like Jazz Jack Rabbit. Diablo
Oh
2 was a
damn.
big thing. So I have such fond memories of 90s PC gaming, but mostly because they're tied to my granny, as opposed to maybe those games weren't good and I was just too young to tell. I don't know.
Dude, that is freaking awesome. Like, okay, so my grandparents were prematurely old. Like, my grandparents in their 40s and 50s never came to visit us because, oh, your grandpa's got a bad heart and he can't fly. Now he can fly across the country to go see his favorite son and his kids, but your grandpa, he just can't. He can't go on amusement park rides because his bad heart and bad this. And it's like, yeah, I get it. You don't like my dad. He's not the favorite child. I understand. It's okay. But yeah, no, my grandparents were super old before their time, so I can appreciate like that's awesome, dude.
Oh yeah, it was. I truly shaped my love of video gaming from my granny one, which is so weird to say because most people it's their friends at school or maybe even their parents. But like,
Right.
no, it was. I got into gaming because of a 55-year-old cancer diagnosing woman.
That's awesome.
And it was, and man, that woman like she got to a point in the PlayStation 2 days she could like steamroll through Ratchet and Clank and not even die. It was wild.
Honestly, it's really funny because I always thought it was like video games were a thing for kids, and then the older I get, it's like, well, I still play them. I play them when I can. It's like obviously, if I'm recording videos or I'm doing something else, when I'm finally all done, I'll sit and play a computer game for an hour and a half, or if I'm doing a stream where I can actually play for like 2-3 hours, that's cool. But the only difference is now I just have more games and less time to play them. I still love video games, but I have far more than I ever had when I was a kid. I just don't have any time now.
I'm in the exact same boat as you. Like I try to obviously. Real life comes first, work, kids, family, all that. Secondary to that comes, in my opinion, YouTube, streaming, making videos, what have you. If there's time left over before I go to bed or whatnot, I will try and crank out, whether it be games on my backlog or maybe I just want to replay something I loved as a kid for nostalgia reasons. But like, however, there will also be these times where like life's too hectic. I'll go 2-3 weeks without touching a single video game. And then maybe after that third week or whatnot, it's like, okay, I want to do this. So I'll spend, 3 nights in a row at, playing video games and whatnot. And like, if you and I weren't doing this now, I would probably be making 2 more videos for tomorrow instead of the one. Not, by the way, now that I'm saying you're keeping
Oh no, trust me, I'm exactly the same way. I get it. It's like I have to look at it and go, okay, right now my time to make a video is either live stream or do that. And if I wasn't doing either one, I'd be sitting here playing a game going, okay, this is a wasted night, but at least I'm going to enjoy myself, damn it,
Right. That's the exact mentality I have, 100%. There's times I will feel guilty. I also get like really, really addicted. Not I wouldn't say addicted is the right word because I don't have trouble turning it off or whatnot. But I just the fun factor is like I'm having
you
so
look
much fun.
forward to it. You're
now?
looking forward to it. Yeah. And see, that's how I am right now. So I did that with Black Myth Wukong, and then I kind of got distracted with other games. I'm halfway through Black Myth. It's a fantastic game. Currently, I'm playing through First Berserker Kazan, which is awesome. I don't know.
I'm so jealous. I really want to try that. It looks so
it's
good.
actually okay. It's a really simple game at first, and you go, "Oh, this is just a basic timing parry hack and slash." It's nowhere near that in depth. And then you get to a certain point in the game, it's like all these things start opening up, and you go, "Oh, there's actually depth and detail here. Okay, this is getting good, right?" And so yeah, the game is a lot of fun. It's not like the greatest game of all time, but I've heard people say it's very similar to like Neo or maybe like Devil May Cry kind of adjacent or whatever. It's certainly not.
So that's why I actually was really interested because when I saw that first trailer, I was like, this is like an anime-esque Devil May Cry or something. It's like,
it has like that anime wash to it, which is really cool. It's a very cool look. So
yeah, I love the aesthetic. Like Space Marine 2 came out, I think, at the end of last year, and I just started it. And I'm having a blast with it. And I'm not very far in it. Again, we don't get a lot of time. I think I'm only 2 or 3 missions in, but I'm like, oh, I understand why everyone was flipping their lid for this game because it feels like a game that would have come out in like 2007 or whatever, but with modern graphics. It's so simple and intuitive and fun because I'm bad at understanding modern video games. Like The Witcher 3 was so complicated. I was like, how do you shove? And this before I was on
The
PC,
Witcher 3 is just really stiff. I describe it as stiff, and once you get past that, once you understand how to like everything works, it gets better. But it is at first it feels very, very stiff. I don't know. That's just the word I have for it.
No, and maybe on PC that it might actually be better and easier to mitigate. But I played on PS4 and it came out and it was like, wow, this because it felt. I said the word clunky, but yeah, same
same kind of idea exactly.
And so it was just so difficult. People have been telling me, you're a PC gamer now. Try The Witcher 3 again. You'll enjoy it. It's like, all right, I have a long ass backlog. I will do the honor of giving that game a fair shot because it is so
It
beloved.
certainly looks incredible on PC. Hey, Sonia says, Words of Paradise, thank you so much for the gifted membership. A Vernum says, in 98, I got introduced to Half-Life and Fallout and loved those ever since. Fake gamer here, never played those. I played Fallout 76 for a few hours and like, this game is ass, I get it now, right?
I'm going to go to bat for Fallout. I'm a massive Fallout fan. I love every Fallout game that's ever been made. Also, by the way, Sexy Sonia, you happy to give you that membership. You've earned it, girly. But yeah, no, the Fallout 76 was what got me to stop buying games day one for the majority of games.
I think that did it to a lot of people.
But then the show came out, and I'm a massive Fallout fan. The show was amazing, and because the show
Thank
came
you.
out,
I thought it was great.
Oh, I loved the Fallout show. It was probably my favorite show of last year.
Now, how lore like game accurate is? I know they screw a lot of stuff up.
It's canon to the games, and it's insanely accurate. It's like people throw a fit about lore inaccuracies. I'm like, no, it's not inaccurate. The games only hinted at certain things. They never gave you a definitive answer. So now that the show's giving a definitive answer, people don't like that, but it doesn't actually contradict any things. It just takes away the stuff that was more in the air and not confirm one way or the other. But
right.
But because the show came out, Steam ran a massive sale for everything Fallout. And I've been hearing for years they fixed Fallout 76. I was like, all right, you know what? Let's go ahead and give this a try. It's $5. Why not? And it was a completely different experience. It was as if it was a different game than what I got on launch. And I love it now. Fallout 76 is actually a blast.
Kind of a cyberpunk situation there, I guess, in some aspects. Although with Fallout 76, I remember hearing, and again, I wasn't even interested in the game at the time because I'd never played any of the Fallout games, about how even like the promotional helmet that they sold was like getting mildew and mold, like growing it and the shit. It's like, you guys screwed everything up you possibly could.
Yeah, every single possible landmine is there they stepped on. Which is why I'm so glad I paid $5 for it several months ago or a year ago or whatever, as opposed to like the 6 year whatever did back in the day. And you couldn't return it. That was the bullshit part.
Yeah.
Like I got it from I did the GameStop pre-order, and since it was a PC game, I don't know what's like where you live, because I don't know if this is a state law. In the state I live in, Missouri, you can't resell PC games, at least to retailers. Like you can do like personal sales, but you can't resell PC games to retailers. So I was just SOL.
Wow. Yeah, no, I mean, it used to be. Are you talking about like taking a game and selling it back to the game store?
Yeah,
you get it, because that's what they do here all the time. You know, Game Crazy.
Yeah, and you can crazy. For console games
GameStop,
for whatever reason. It is illegal in my state to do that with PC games. Because I remember one time trying to go in and I don't play The Sims. I couldn't care less about The Sims.
No.
But I used to have this job cleaning out apartments that had been abandoned, and anything we found we got to keep. And I found just a stack of like all these Sims 3 games and expansions and this, that, and the other. I was like, bro, I'm going to go to the GameStop. I'm going to make bank on reselling these.
Yeah.
Like, nope, you can't take them back. You can't resell PC games in the state.
That is crazy. What? That's like it's an actual state law.
Yeah, that's what they told me.
I gotta look that shit up now.
I've never fact checked it, but that's what they told me at the GameStop. I took them at their word.
Let's see, the Modley Nuka-Cola Power Armor helmet, the canvas bag, and that bullshit Nuka Dark Rum. Yeah, I thought the casting was good for the show, too. I really liked, what's her name? Ella something.
Ella or Ellie, something Purnell. And,
Ellie Purnell, I think, yeah.
She's cute. She does great. A lot of folk. And that show was one of the things that actually, like the announcement of that show was one of the things that made me really take a hard look at, like, where do I want to stand on this quote unquote being anti-woke and making these videos? Because the moment they announced a female character, everyone was throwing a fit. And so I made this video. It was like, yo, nothing in the trailer screamed anything political or ideological. Yeah, there's a female character, but in Fallout, you can make males or females. Let's just wait till the show's out. Because so far, this show might not be good, by the way, because video game adaptations often aren't. But like, I didn't get any hint of quote unquote wokeness. I didn't get it for Furiosa either. And so I made these two videos that were like, can we just stop at the whole, if there's a woman and it's automatically woke thing? Let's wait to see if they say like the woman can do it better than the man. Like, okay, that point totally fucking fit. But until then, let's just chill for a moment, because we don't want to look like the morons on the other side. We don't want to become that. Dude,
so my secondary channel that I started with my wife years ago, I made a video talking about it based on the trailers, based on the trailer reactions, and I'm like, oh, this show is going to be terrible. It looks like garbage, right? That was the most downvoted video I ever had. I'm talking, I'm pretty sure I got ratioed on that video. And then I saw the show and I'm like, oh my God.
That was me for X-Men 97, dude. I had to eat crow. I talked ridiculous shit on X-Men 97. Are you familiar with the subreddit Saltier Than Crate?
Oh yeah, I ended up on there. One of my first videos actually ended up on there.
I didn't know about it until I ended up there for my X-Men 97 video. It got like 4,000 views, which is massive for me at a time when I only had like 1,000 subs or whatever. And then I got just obliviated. And so someone was like, yo, you're on Saltier Than Crate. I didn't even know what it was. And I went there and I was like, oh, wow, these mofos are roasting me. They're going to see when the show comes out that I was right. Show came out and I had to eat so much crow because it was nothing like what we.
Here's the thing: if you can own it and accept it, that's fine. Like I said, I've had generally, I think, decent opinions on most things. I've been wrong about a few things, but in general, it's like, I think I tend to come from a good objective like place when I'm trying to have an opinion on something. I don't just want to go, oh well, I don't like the X, Y, or Z, so I'm just going to say this is going to be shit, right? But that was one, like I said, that Fallout show where I'm just like, I felt like an ass, and that's okay. It's a good humbling experience for all of us.
Oh yeah, I very much enjoy being humbled on YouTube, with one exception. This happens every time I make a video about it. Every single Hassan Piker video I make, which has only been like 3 or so, but every one of them gets downloaded into oblivion because Hassan got like armies of simps. They'll go to any video criticizing him.
Yeah, don't take that one personally. Never take that one personally.
Yeah, I'm never going to feel humbled about getting a Hassan video ratioed. In fact, I feel like I'm doing God's work if I'm getting ratioed in a Hassan video.
Exactly. Before we jump on the Nintendo and Palworld stuff, can you tell me, how do you feel about this whole story? Have you seen this thing about this Georgia dad that left his kids at McDonald's?
This story pissed me off. I went on a long X rant about it last night, actually, and yeah, this if we take the story at face value,
yes,
very upsetting. I do feel like it's so absurd. There has to be something else, but if there is not, the story is insane.
Yeah, I look at this and go, okay, so obviously back when I was a kid, my parents both worked, and whether we were homeschooled or in school and got home and our parents weren't home at that point, there were plenty of times that me and my 3 older brothers were all like at home by ourselves for hours on end. Now, that wasn't always the best case scenario, kids fight and everything, get into trouble, whatever. But I look at this whole story and go, I have a hard time feeling like this is justified when a dude, like, if they legit had nobody else, like his wife is working, he's trying to get a job, and he can't afford like daycare. They said he didn't own a car, didn't have a car. His wife obviously probably had the one car they owned. Like, what do you do? Well,
not only that. I mean, there's that too. But the part of this that bothers me the most, and I'm sure you were in the same boat as a kid, because we're probably roughly the same vintage, is that I mean, when I was a kid, my dad was letting me ride my bike around town and go to the mall and go to the movies and things. And I'm the oldest of 5. Sometimes my little siblings would have to come along and I'd be playing babysitter. But by the same token, I'm going to the mall. And that seems to be the sentiment that a lot of folks have around this is, wow, the times have changed. I'm like, but they haven't. Like, people have tried to say in the comment I made, the post I made about it, well, child sex trafficking is on the rise. I'm like, I don't think it is. Like, don't get me wrong, it's a bad thing.
Do you know that the criminal the statistics for actual like crimes, like violent crimes against people of all ages and demographics, was worse when we were kids than it is now?
See, that's what I thought as well. I feel like it seems worse now because due to the advent of social media, we see it so much more, so we think it's happening more. Right. But it's not. And even then, it's such a statistical anomaly. Now, obviously, you don't want to put your kids in unnecessary danger. I'm a parent,
hell no.
I get that.
Absolutely.
But you also don't want to shelter them to the point where they can't experience the real world. And if my kid at 11 years old, which she is, wants to go to McDonald's by herself or whatnot, as long as it's, if she wants me to drop her off at the McDonald's to hang out with her friends, playing the play pace, whatnot, while I go to the mall or the bank, or just let her have her alone time away from her parents, because that's, in my opinion, important for kids to grow, that should be fine. This is even worse because the dude was trying to actively better his children's life.
And it sounds like he didn't go that far. So, Richie, you said context. Here you go. The story is Georgia dad arrested for leaving young kids in McDonald's to a 10-day job interview. It's pretty cut and dry. So he went, it says Georgia father of 3 was arrested for leaving his young children unattended at a McDonald's to go to a nearby interview. They don't specify how nearby, but it says Chris Lewis, 24, allegedly walked his 3 kids. Now here's what's crazy. I don't think these were all his biological children, because he's 24, the oldest is 10. So unless he had a kid at 14.
I think he did, though. I don't know if this was confirmed, but before I made my post on it, I was reading a lot of the comments, and there were people saying he had this child at 14, he's still in their lives, and that's amazing. Like, let's be real.
That's insane.
Like
that's wow.
He's a black single dad. That's not a common statistic. Not trying to be a douche here.
Well,
but
he might not be single. They said the mom had to come and pick all of them up when he got done with his interview, so they might be together. So yeah, okay. So He allegedly walked his 3 kids from his apartment to the restaurant, so he went with them in Augusta just before 4:30, so it's not even late or anything, okay? Youngsters ages 1, 6, and 10. Honestly, the age 1 is the only one where I look at this and go...
But also, if the 10-year-old's mature enough, if he's got bottles and maybe he's got like a diaper kit with him, like, a 10-year-old can change a 1-year-old's diaper and can make sure they get fed and whatnot, especially
sure,
if
yeah, a 10-year-old
yeah.
can. My 10-year-olds couldn't, but a 10-year-old could, absolutely. My kids is like, they're so freaking pampered. My twins are almost 10, and my oldest is 12.
I try not to, but she is as well. And like, mine's an only child, which makes it even worse. So like, I really don't want to call her and whatnot, but it also gets very difficult because of things like this. Like, I don't know about you, but I've kind of grown up in a being a single dad, grown up in this environment where, not just say grown up, but like I've had to raise a child in this environment where,
Sure.
man, one wrong thing can land CPS or whatever at my door when it's something that was completely innocuous when I was a kid.
Right. No, 100%. So it says the youngsters ages 1, 6, and 10 spent their time alone in the restaurant, which has an indoor play area attached to the dining room. Lewis was seen leaving the fast food joint, returned shortly to check on his kids, left again, and a worried customer told police. Richmond County Sheriff's Department arrived at the restaurant and located the unharmed, unaccompanied minors who remained inside the store until the father returned. So they didn't even leave. They stayed put. Lewis
Which
returned...
I guarantee he told them to do. I bet he sat his oldest down and said, I have to take care of a very important errand. Stay here, watch your brothers. Here's some money for a few Happy Meals. Play in the play place. Make sure everyone stays safe. Don't leave. Now, do I know he's doing this? No, I'm headcanon.
No, this is all simply...
didn't leave. I assume that's what happened because that's what a good parent would do. My dad would tell me, if you're going to ride your bike to the movie theater, you go there. When you're done, you come home.
Right.
I would do what my dad said.
It's entirely up to the kid then to follow the parents' instruction, right? So Lewis returned to the McDonald's just before 6:20, so not quite 2 hours, where police confronted him for leaving his children alone in public. Lewis, who doesn't own a car, told police he left his kids behind because he doesn't want them to walk back to his home as he went to the interview. So he wanted them to stay there. I don't know. I mean, maybe the McDonald's was closer to the interview than their home was. I mean, that could have been the thought process.
That's the way the article makes it sound is, he goes to McDonald's first because not only is that closer, but there's also entertainment value there for the kids. Again, you got the play place. They can maintain being occupied. And that's, in my opinion, it's better than leaving them at home in front of Netflix.
Well, I mean, yeah, exactly. Police waited inside with Lewis until the children's mom arrived to take her kids home. Okay, so hang on. Lewis was arrested and charged. They don't say that he was together with her or not.
That's why, I assumed that he was a single father, and that doesn't mean now maybe all 3 of his kids are hers, maybe they're not. I don't know. Like that's the details are fuzzy on that, but regardless of the situation, if she's working, even if you've got 3 kids and only one parent works, especially in somewhere like Georgia, cost of living wise, that's still not sustainable. So it's like, say she was at work, he had to do this job interview. Even then, I think that's acceptable if we were going to assume that they were together.
Yeah, I think at the end of the day, my biggest issue with the entire thing is whether or not it was a smart move, good decision, bad decision, whatever. I mean, this seems like one of those things like, why are we wasting time having police come to a McDonald's when the kids were not in danger? And now it's like the guy was just trying to get a job. Now, again, you can have all sorts of opinions on whether it was a smart decision, if that he could have done something better. I just look at this and go, I can't imagine being in this situation where you're desperate, need to get a job, and you have the cops called on you because your kids are playing in a play place. I don't know. Maybe I'm getting soft in my own age. I don't know.
No, I don't think you're getting soft. Again, and maybe you and I are romanticizing our childhoods and whatnot, but to me, it's just wild to think that, again, I'm the oldest of 5. And you said that you were, I don't know about the youngest.
I'm the youngest of 4 boys. Yeah.
Okay, so I'm the oldest of 5. 4 of them were all biologically related. One's a stepchild, didn't come till later. So we'll take it about my child. I'm the oldest of 4. My siblings frequently come with me. We go do things. We had what's it called? Like a dollar theater about 8 blocks from my dad's apartment.
Right.
And so the movies were $2.50. He would say, all right, go to the Dollar General, pick up some dollar snacks because we don't got friggin' money for popcorn food, things like that.
Yep.
Here's $10 because that's enough to cover all the movie tickets. Sneak that stuff in. Go see a movie. I've got things to do. When it's done, walk back. Make sure you're walking back and you're mindful of your surroundings. You're mindful of your siblings. And it was It was fine. I cannot. My dad is a superhero. I cannot imagine a world where he could have potentially gotten arrested because he trusted me as the oldest to take my siblings out and entertain them while he got whatever adult stuff done he needed to get done.
Right, and Demi in the chat here says, I think arresting a black dad for winning a job is the craziest shit ever. I mean, it's so rough because at the same time it's like you could judge the decision, but it's I think this he's not out dealing fentanyl. He's not beating his kids. He just went to go to a job interview and he's using like a daycare, like a playground. But he probably felt, okay, there's adults here, there's staff here. It's safer than leaving my kids out, on the public playground where somebody can just snatch them. I mean, he probably thought it was the best decision possible. I don't know. As somebody who has
15
become
years ago, it probably would have been like, that's the question, is how far is society falling? Because 15 years ago, I don't think we would have ever seen a case like this.
Yeah. Mario says, oh my God, he's got a parrot. How cute. Oh yeah. That bird is his other half.
Yeah. He actually controls the whole thing. I'm but a puppet for his avian machinations. But yes, this is Hondo.
Yeah. It's kind of like that whole situation with Ratatouille, right?
Yeah, exactly. You'll notice that the videos that get ratioed are the ones where he's not here, and it's me giving my own opinions instead of the correct ones that the bird comes up with.
Yeah. Well, my animals control me, but they do it from afar. I've got 2 cats that think they run the house, and a dog who's obsessed with me. So,
he runs the hell. Because I got 2 cats, 2 birds, and a dog. People are like, yo, Leon, how can you have 2 cats and just a free roaming bird? It's because the cats know their place. The bird doesn't screw around. He will bully the cats.
Oh, that's hilarious. Oh my God, that's great. When people left their babies in cars, there's a bigger danger depending on how young the kids are. Yeah, here's the thing. I will leave my kids in the car, but my kids are also like my oldest kid. He's 12 now. He's my size. I'm talking like he's going to be a big ass dude when he's going to be over 6 feet tall. And he's a big, thick guy. Okay. He's not overweight. He's big. And so now when I leave him in the car, it's like, I'll lock you in the car. If you need something, he's got a phone. It's like, okay, whatever, just let me know. I go in the store for 10 minutes, come back, and we're done. If I had a baby, unless it was like, okay, we're going to go for a nap, I'm going to step out of the car to stretch my legs. Yeah, no, the whole leaving kids in the car and having them suffocate and all that is like the worst thing ever. It's absolutely... 9
times out of 10, from if what I've read is correct, it's done intentionally. Those are parents that didn't want the kid and they think they can play off an accident, whatnot. Very, very rarely is it like a legit parent forgot their kid in the car.
The dude that was like, he went back in to play PlayStation for 3 hours and left his newborn baby in the car and it died. It's like, yeah, no, that's not negligence. That's intentional. So,
well, I left my kid in the car when I ran to the gas station the other day. I was like, my grandma wanted me to run to the gas station and pick her some stuff up. So I went. I lived there. I was like, you want to come in? It's like, not really. I was like, do you want anything? She's like, if I give a Sprite, please. And so I left in the car, music going, AC still going. I ran in, got her a Sprite, got me a green tea. My grandma her cigarettes. Bingo, bango, bongo. Came back out. She was fine.
Yep.
I mean, she's ruining my Spotify algorithm, but she was fine.
Yeah, my kids all have their own like kids Spotify accounts now because it's like, stop messing with these. We have playlists full of crap that none of us want to listen to now. All right, so before the main story, we're going to talk about the Pocket Pair Palworld furry stuff, dude. I had to bring you on here not just for Nintendo. I'm like, I knew you'd enjoy the conversation about Nintendo, but I'm like, I don't know how you feel about the whole furry conversation.
Bro, I was a guest on a show last night I'd never been on, and I went on like a 20-minute tirade about why I hate furries. Because I have two massively negative experiences with furries. I feel like we should be deporting them more than illegal immigrants. And I really don't like illegal immigration, just so you guys know the context. Yeah, I hate furries.
Well, then we're in good company then, because like for me personally, I look at the entire situation and I'm like, I don't get it. I don't want to get it. I don't understand it. I think it's disgusting. And it always tends to be people who are living out like their weird fetishes and stuff. And it's like, there's no world in which the whole furry thing should exist. Like, you can look at all sorts of different lifestyles and go, okay, well, I might not agree with this, but okay, fine, living their own life, not hurting anybody. No, the whole furry thing, I'm done. There's no excuse for it. I'm sorry.
So when before we get into the story, just so y'all understand why I have a passionate hatred for furries. Because unlike Tebow here, I did try to understand it, because my best friend growing up, I had known him since I was about 5 years old. About 16 rolls around, and he tells me he's a furry. Now I have no idea what a furry is, except for if y'all remember that show, A Thousand Ways to Die. There was
Oh
an
my
episode
god,
of-
yeah, on Spike TV.
yeah.
Yeah,
There was an episode
we're old.
about furries that were like fucking in the desert and stuff, and they got too hot in their suits, and like they died that way or whatever. And that was my only knowledge of furries. So he tells me he's one, and I'm like, so you like put on costumes and trying to have sex with people in costumes? And now mind you, I'm 15 or so, he's 16, and he's like, no, it's an art style thing. Like that's a weird fringe sort of furry thing. It's an art. Basically, go to this website. It's called Fur Affinity, and you'll see like they're just doing. Like you're a Sonic fan. What they're doing is they're taking these animals and they're making them more human. And I was like, oh, okay.
He tried to use your Sonic fandom against you. Oh my god.
So I go to this website, and the default for the website is the SFW stuff, safe for work. So I'm like, oh, it's like a lead singer from a band I really like, but they've done him as if he was a dog. And like, yeah, if he was a dog, he would look like that. And it was actually like artistically, it's like, this art is well done. This is cool. And then I was like, wait, the NSFW, what's that? And I was horrified when I clicked the button. And so I was like, okay, whatever. Turn that off, get that away. And I go, and it's been a few months since I've seen him. I go to stay the night at his house for the first time, and he has got all this furry art of like his character, like railing people and getting fucked in the ass and whatnot. And he had like a black wolf character, but his wolf dick was like a big white one. And I was like, I thought you said this wasn't a sex thing, and now I'm staying in your bedroom. I don't even want to be in your bedroom now. So that was experience numero one. And
oh my god.
Several years later, that's probably a couple years later, I'm in a band, and a gig is a gig, right? And there's a furry convention that was in town, and they needed live music. So I was like, well, I don't like furries, but a gig is a gig. So I sent them our band's like information. I sent them one cover we'd done and one original we'd done. In the original, there was a lyric that said, "We can have sex in a rental Porsche." And they emailed me back saying, while we really like the style of music you play, we don't think it would be appropriate to have a band openly singing about sex on stage publicly. And I was like, you're furries! In a single line in the song? Like, what? Oh, it pissed me off. So yeah, you know what? Fuck furries. I hate it. It's dumb. It's bad. That said,
oh
the
my
artist
god,
that those suits. That's still talented. I'll give you credit. It's talented to be able to make something like that.
well, sure. It's like cosplaying. I mean, half of cosplay. I feel like there's the cosplay, which is just legitimately good cosplay of whatever it is, and then there's the other side of it that's more of like a fetish thing. So I can understand from that perspective. There's a talent that goes into making those furry suits and all that. It's just the lifestyle behind it. So.
Right.
So since we have Mari in the chat and she's Japanese, not very familiar with the whole furry thing, Mari, it's basically people who dress up as animals and act out their sexual fantasies through their animal furry suits that they're wearing. So it's not just hairy people; it's people pretending to be animals. So. Yeah,
and they're always such degenerates. How do they get? Because these suits are expensive, dude. People pay like $500, $600, $800, sometimes $1,200 for these costumes. But like, if you have a job, it's at like McDonald's at 2 a.m. How are you affording this shit? Oh, because you still with your parents. Got it.
Yeah, well, there's the thing. None of them probably have kids and they live at home. So what are else?
I'm glad they don't have kids. I don't want people like this to have kids. So
well, sure.
In that regard.
Sure. So it says on here, Pocket Pair, the company that made Palworld, and we all remember Palworld. It was pretty fun for 5 minutes, and some people really got into it. I played it for a couple of streams, and I'm like, all right, it's like Pokemon with guns and. Kind of like Pokemon meets Valheim meets Ark. You know, all games I generally like. So, cool, whatever. But now this is a thing because it says they have an official dating sim. And the weirdest part about it is if you've played Palworld, it's just animals. It's just the pals.
Yeah.
So who are you dating, right?
Well, I saw this video, or I saw this article. And I was gonna read it and cover it actually for a video today, but the stream I was on yesterday ran long, so I didn't get to. So this is actually gonna be news to me, and you're probably going to terrify me. And it's probably gonna be exactly what I think it is.
I'm sure it is because I haven't looked into it either. Japanese developers. This is.
Let's do it.
There's a lot of this. Like I've looked at the Nintendo trailers, but other than that, I haven't read this yet. So. Wasn't it Futa last time? Oh my god. Mari gets all the weird concepts and degenerate terms. Yes, we're teaching Mari a lot. Mari speaks 5 languages, but these terminology that we're using, a lot of these weird fetish stuff she's not aware of.
Slang stuff is not part of the correct colloquial usages.
Correct, yes. So unfortunately, we're going to be the ones that ruin her entire worldview of the West, so... Japanese developers Pocket Pair have revealed its first Palworld spin-off game, and it's a dating sim focusing on the creatures themselves. Palworld was first released on the PC and Xbox in January 2024, taking the internet by storm. Fans flocked to Twitch to watch their favorite streamers craft. Blah. We all know the story. Again, Palworld was a pretty big game back when it released.
It was, which is why it blew my mind that all my videos on it flopped. Like every one. I don't know what it was, but like, man, I could not get traction when trying to cover Palworld.
Well, I mean, okay, so this was around the time that I actually kind of revamped my channel to focus on gaming news specifically before the Sweet Baby Ink stuff. So I was covering things like Skull and Bones and Palworld on my channel before like all the real big surge in anti-woke content kind of came up. And that just kind of consumed all of us for like a year now. So I remember covering this, and I was getting maybe a few hundred views on a video, so I didn't think too much about the topic at the time. I just knew the game was really popular. And of course you have the whole Nintendo lawsuit and everything else. So it says the developers revealed their first spin-off of the popular title, and it's a dating sim featuring creatures from the game. A Steam listing for the game went live on Monday, and Palworld shared the trailer in a post on X, leaving users shocked and confused in the process. I think that describes how all of us feel right now.
Yeah.
Under the legendary world tree, your destiny intertwines with the adorable pals. You, the protagonist, enroll as a transfer student in the prestigious Palpagos Private Academy. You will meet unique friends, as in the pals, and enjoy school life through friendship and romance. It's up to you whether you stay friends with the pals, develop romantic relationships with them, or even dismember and eat them.
That last part is actually more concerning than the dating parts, like, because that's some Jeffrey Dahmer shit. Like, I'm gonna pretend to be your friend, and then when the moment strikes, like, you going in a sandwich.
Yeah, so do you want to watch the trailer? Because I haven't actually watched this yet.
Let's do it. Let's go all in.
All right,
I'm here.
Okay, now hang on. Can you hear anything?
I'll mute my mic and turn on the audio from the YouTube stream because I'm not seeing what you're sharing, but I'll just turn on the audio from the YouTube stream.
Wait, can you not see anything that I'm sharing right now?
No, I cannot. I if you've shared anything this whole night, I've not seen it. I've occasionally looked over to the stream and seen you sharing things. But yeah, I can't see anything you're sharing on my end.
Let me see if I can
fix
fix
my own settings. I've never used Streamlabs, so I don't know. So my apologies. That's
no,
my
hang
fault.
on. That's not your fault. I had it set properly, and then it changed. It switched on me. So now you should be able
there
to.
It is. Yeah, I'm seeing it now. Okay.
Now, here's the thing. I don't think you'll have audio for this. So.
Okay.
But it says a wacky school romance simulation that's taking the world by storm. New characters are joining Palworld. Palworld, more than just pals. My second favorite right after Big Brother. Is that not good enough? Okay, this is creepy. Hee hee, do you really think I look cool? Who is this made for?
I mean, I think we answered that already.
Yeah, Nurse Saya. No drinking at school, don't be so uptight. How about a glass with me instead?
No fetish rock left unturned.
Okay, here's the thing. And this is not me making a case for the game. This is quite the opposite. The Palworld was cute. It was, I'm not going to say wholesome, because yeah, you could kill the pals and eat them and cook them and all sorts of stuff and put them in basically slave labor camps, right?
By the way, is in the lore of Pokemon as well. It's just very glossed over. But the Pokedex entry for Farfetch'd is like, they've been hunted to nearly extinction because they taste so good in stew. It's like, oh, that's interesting. So that's actually not out of line with what was already in our kids' games.
NS says, what an opposing contrast of hair observed on the two streamers on the screen. Yeah, so Leon has all the hair on the head that I have none of, but my beard is like twice as long as my face hair has ever been, or my head hair.
I'm so jealous of your beard. I try to, as gross as it's going to sound, it's actually very healthy for your hair to only wash about once a week. And so anytime I go on a show and my hair looks like shit, I'm beating it up. I do my Tim Pool cosplay, basically. Oh, there you go, yeah. No, see, my Tim Pool cosplay is because I am legitimately, like, I've got a 5 head because my receding hairline. No, so this is beyond disturbing. This is... Nurse Saya, another lecture about my drinking. Never mind that, come closer. Drinking with you tonight. Wow. Well, have you ever, out of curiosity, played a dating sim?
Does My Side count as a dating sim?
I don't know what My Side is. So
indie horror anime waifu game. I played this a couple weeks ago on a couple streams. It is basically a horror thriller simulation, like dating sim, but you're not really dating different characters. It's like you have this this character you're playing, and he gets this little dating sim of this little character. He gets sucked into the game, and it turns out one of the characters is trying to kill off you and all the other ones and basically lock you into the game forever. It's a really cool, like, it's a very cool concept for a game.
It sounds very meta. Like, it sounds like a game I'd enjoy. So
it's fantastic.
I would count that in like the same way I count Persona, which is like there are dating sim elements, but it's not a dating sim. But like it's an RPG, it's a role playing game. So when I play through Persona, I do always do the dating and stuff because it's part of like the character growth and whatnot.
Right. So no, I have never wasted my time like playing a straight up dating sim. I mean, you mentioned you don't like The Sims. I tried playing The Sims one time back on my GameCube. I think it was The Sims 2 at the time.
Yeah, it was GameCube. It was Sims 2. My sister loved those games. I fucking hated them.
I played that 1 or 2 times. My character, she was lonely. She was depressed. She couldn't make it to work on time. She'd pee herself. She'd have to clean her bathroom. By the time she went to bed at night, she was miserable and depressed and lonely. I'm like, why would you play this? Why on earth would anybody do this?
I've never had a successful Sims experience. They're always depressed messes. And like, to be fair, I say always. I've only played it a handful of times like you, but even because my sister loved them, and sometimes your parents are like, play the game with your sister, it'll make her happy. And I was like, how do you enjoy this?
Dude, here's the thing.
Which is a sim, and it's awesome. Roller Coaster Tycoon's great.
Right. It's just I don't mind simulation type games or simulator type games. It's the life simulator thing. Like that Inzoi game I covered in a video a few days ago because everyone's freaking out because it doesn't have gay options. Then it's gonna have gay options, and of course it pisses off everybody. And I'm like, here's the thing: the core audience for those life and dating simulator games are women and gay guys. So.
Right.
Who cares?
And frankly, I'm going to try Enjoy. Like, it's normally not my style of game whatsoever. It's more the fact that it's so massively in depth, and it's an indie game. And I'm like, I need to see how an indie studio is able to make a game that is this.
It looks really good. I don't mean like the gameplay, because I couldn't care less about the gameplay. It's a Sims game, but like it looks visually really good.
Right. And I was. The fact that an indie dev could put out a game that one-ups The Sims, which is like the gold standard for simulations, I'm like, I got to see what this is about from a purely like mechanical standpoint, because this seems like a tide turning for indies.
I think Sims teach women how to emotionally manipulate people at a certain level. Sims is like a government psyop or something. That's great.
That's awesome.
Oh man. Oh yeah, the Schedule 1, the drug dealer game. Dude, that game, where did it come from? Because that feels like a psyop. Like all of a sudden, 300,000 people playing this game that nobody had heard of before?
I don't know. I've got so many friends playing it. Now, to be fair, I haven't played it yet. In fact, I haven't even watched them stream it because no shade to my buddies, they're streamers, but I don't particularly like watching gameplay streams. I love watching streams people talk about games, give their opinions and things, but I would rather play the game myself. So I don't even like doing gameplay streams because to me that's my decompressed, relaxed time. I don't want to worry about entertaining an audience while I do it. Now, every now and again they vote for me to do it, like chat bubbles on, and I'll do it. But yeah, so I know nothing about Schedule 1 aside from all my buddies who are playing it are having a blast with it. Which
and it was made by a solo dev. So the funny thing you mentioned about game streams, I stream video games every Friday night. I was doing it twice a week until I turned my Wednesday stream into like, okay, Wednesdays was for indie games because I was getting keys from Keymailer. And I'm like, shit, we complain so much in this space. I'm going to start playing indie games and give people other options of things that they might want to, get into. Problem is, most of the indie keys I get are for really shitty games. And I'm like, no, don't buy this game. This is terrible. But that being said, when I stream games on Friday nights, my gameplay suffers terribly. Like I look like I'm legit retarded and handicapped when I play games on stream because I spend more time chatting than I do focusing on the game.
So I found the pro gamer strat for that because that was another reason that I didn't play games. Like you have to either play the game well or entertain the audience, one of the two. I've realized I will only stream games I've played a bajillion fucking times so that I can like basically muscle memory the whole thing while engaging with the chat. So like I was playing on stream recently the original Resident Evil 3 from on the PS1. I've played that game 30 times over 30 years or however long it's been. Sonic Adventure. So games where I was like, I can effectively shut my brain off because I'm trained to play it. I can still entertain the chat and stuff. So that's the strat.
Demi, I don't want to play the Palworld game. Don't joke about sending me a key of that game, dude. Hell no. No, you can send Leon one if you want to, but I'm not playing the furry game. Not a chance.
I I'd take a key, but here's the caveat. I will only play it if I hit a super chat threshold. Because I'll do shit like that. I will do.
I'll
I
say
don't know if
you do that. You do
I'll
levels, yeah.
Yeah, I'll do like Wheel of Torture sort of things. Like if you pay so much, I'll put on the masochism hat and we can do something that will change me for life. But I ain't doing that for free. Hell nah.
No, I generally don't like. I don't even do the whole thing like when everyone played Dustborn. I think we get the idea with this game. When everybody played Dustborn,
I refuse. There was no money that was worth Dustborn.
Yeah, I just
I
honestly
did go see Snow White. Someone paid like $300 to go see Snow White, and I was like, all right, that's I gotta do it now. I can't not do it.
And the funniest thing is, I remember people like the Quartering were like, well, you know, even for YouTube content creators, you guys shouldn't be supporting these movies because you're just reinforcing Disney making bad movies. I'm like, dude, the only people that went and saw Snow White were YouTubers. Legit, nobody else went and saw it.
I opened so many, like I would just scroll through the days, like the seatings in my local theaters. Like, there's one dude here. It's like, oh, I guess there's another local YouTuber in my city. Like, that's the mentality I had.
All right, so I don't have a whole lot of the Nintendo specific stuff brought up, but I do have like the trailer here for Mario Kart World, which is really their big selling point, right? So if we were gonna get into the Nintendo stuff now,
just obviously we want to do this first one out, but we have to bring up the trailer one out. But there's a game I want to shout out that I did not expect to see coming, was blown away by. So but by all means,
I'll have to look that one up. I'll have to pull that one up here because I didn't actually see that one. Now, Leon, I don't think you have audio, but again, the audio for me doesn't matter. It's a Mario Kart game. Who cares about that? In fact, I'm just going to mute it.
I saw the Nintendo Switch Direct, so
yeah, exactly. So I
watched it like an hour before we started streaming, so it's very fresh on my mind.
I'm just muting this so we can talk over it anyways. It's just Mario Kart. Nobody needs to hear the audio. So here's the thing. I hate Mario Kart. I despise Mario Kart. No, it's a fun game. But I have a 12-year-old who is trying to be the #1 Mario Kart racer in the world. And then he wants me to play with him. Now, he plays online and gets to be #1 and playing against Japanese people, okay?
So he's just demolishing you.
He's sweaty. He is beyond sweaty with Mario Kart. And I'm like, dude, it's Mario Kart. It's a party game. And he'll watch other YouTubers and stuff, and then he'll be like taking their tricks and tips and trying to put him in the... I'm like... Mario Kart was the first game I got him for his Nintendo Switch. How many years ago did the Switch come out? I can't remember. It's been like 7 years now?
It came out in 2017. So was that 7 or 8 years?
Okay, so I've had, people complain about the price, and we're going to criticize the price of all this shit in a minute here. But this Nintendo Switch, I've had this for 6 or 7 years now, and my kids have played tons of games on it.
I bought one for my kid. I fell in love with it. I was taking hers all the time. I was like, I gotta stop doing that. I gave hers back, and I bought one for me. So I have 2 Switches in my home.
Okay, so I mean, I almost tried to convince my wife to let me buy the OLED one, and it's like, there's no reason to, so we don't need to. I joked about buying my kids a PlayStation, and then they're like, aren't there like no games on it? I'm like, yeah, I know. There's no reason to. But
good answer from the kids.
Yeah, that was honestly, that was their first thing. Like, Dad, I thought you said there's like not really any games worth buying it for. I'm like, there's not, but it'd be funny to have one because I shit on Sony for so long. But so, I mean, okay. So for the average person, that's not me, that doesn't love racing games. I love F-Zero, and even like Pod Racer back in the day was a fantastic racing game.
Dude, Episode 1 Racer was one of my first PC games that was like mine and not my grandma's. I loved Episode 1
Movie was shit, but the pod racing game was absolutely incredible.
I even have a soft spot for the movie.
I can't. I watched it midnight showing opening night, and I was completely disappointed. Like, this isn't Star Wars, man. What the hell is this?
Wow, that's...
Yeah.
However, I will agree that the pod racing scene is the best in the movie. Like, that is the best part of the movie. I'll agree with that.
And the game that it inspired, honestly, the pod racing video game, I legit, if they maybe cleaned it up, remastered it, I'd play that tomorrow. But the same goes for F-Zero. They
did a remaster of it like a year and a half, 2 years ago.
Oh, they did. Okay.
I have yet to buy it, but I need to because it looked great. I hope it actually is great.
So part of this trailer that I really found interesting that I didn't realize until actually somebody played a clip of it is not obviously there's going to be a ton of racetracks. There's more characters. There are more vehicles. It makes sense now why they didn't add more characters for Mario Kart Deluxe because they're loading up on the amount of characters in this game now. It's like you can play pretty much everybody, right? But the part I find interesting is I guess they're doing a Forza-like world aspect to it. So you can actually just drive around in the open world. In Mario Kart. Like, that's actually pretty genius, to be honest.
I have a love-hate relationship with this idea. Because you said we were going to talk about pricing.
Right.
So I won't hit on that quite yet, but there's a pricing element that ties to that. if you're going to do an open world aspect to a game like this, there's got to be stuff to do when you're not in the actual races. There needs to be like Legend of Zelda level, Legend of Zelda style exploration where like, oh, if I go through this crevasse with this particular power up, maybe I can find an even better power up. Like there's got to be a reason for it to be open world.
Right.
And I don't know how they could do that with such replayability, but I'm open to being wrong because I'm a Nintendo fan.
I mean, if they do it like Forza, and they just showed you driving with your friends and you're going to go do a race or like, you know, specific objectives, then I guess it would work, you know, if there's enough to do. So I don't know.
Yeah, I'm open to the idea, and again, Nintendo rarely disappoints me. But like I said, I didn't buy Mario Kart 8. Last one I got was Mario Kart Wii, I believe, which was awesome, which was fun. But like to me, the series peaked at Double Dash, which was on the GameCube. So
there isn't gonna be anything in this game that'll justify $90. Well, okay, so we're gonna go to the pricing stuff. I'm just hitting on like the good, like the highlights real quick, and then we'll get into the pricing stuff, guys. That's going to be a big thing. So here's another thing, Elden Ring Tarnished Edition. I don't know if this moves the needle for anybody, because let's face it, playing Elden Ring on a Nintendo, even like the Nintendo Switch 2, is probably not going to be as good as on a other console or like on a PC. Now, I know that these specs for the Switch 2 are better, the refresh rate, frames per second, all that stuff.
I'm surprised at how good they are, actually. If I'm going to be real, this might be for the time, like adjusted for the time, the beefiest thing they've ever made. Like, because the GameCube was actually beefier than the PS2. A lot of people don't realize that, like in its internal specs. Xbox made both, but GameCube was beefier than PS2, but it never really, because of Nintendo's audience, like took advantage of it to the level it could.
I feel like Nintendo, they just kind of coast. They sit back and go, well, we have fun gimmicky games and, you know, titles that we know we can make it look goofy, and the art style will make it run easier. We won't require as much, you know, hardware and shit. So we're just going to make something that's easier on the system, and we're just going to please our core customer base rather than really try to get the most out of what they have in their system. So they've never really competed.
That's what it boils down to. We've got to trust like third-party devs to really put in that work, and how easy is this going to be to develop for? Because Nintendo has been notorious for like their systems are difficult to develop for.
Right. So I mean, maybe this will be something, but basically what it is, it's an addition of the game that has the base game and the Shadow of the Erdtree. That's cool. I mean, getting them 2-in-1's great, as well as new armor and features. I imagine that this is going to be what, cross-play compatible with other systems. I'd hope. Like.
See, I've never played Elden Ring. I've only played one Souls-like. Well, technically I played two. I used to do streams way back in the day on a different channel called Drinking Games, where we would start sober, and as we play the games, and I tried Dark Souls 2, my very first experience with Dark Souls ever. Take a shot every time you die. I didn't realize what a mistake that was. I never played a From Software game ever again. However, a couple years ago, Lies of P came out, and holy shit, that game blew my mind.
Okay, well, so, that game is similar to the idea of like the Souls type games, from what I understand. I downloaded Lies of P, and then I had to make room for other games before I had a chance to play it. So I
would say it's worth it, because everyone says it plays exactly like a Souls like. I only have the one thing, which is Dark Souls 2, to compare it to. However, the only reason I never really got into Elden Ring was because it came out right in that transitional period of me switching from console to PC.
Right.
And so I didn't have the faith in myself as a PC player to do it on PC. I also didn't want to buy games for console. So actually, this is something that I may pick up and be like, I'll finally get to experience Elden Ring. Will it be the definitive edition or the best to play? I don't know, but as someone who missed the boat on it, it might be like a good, especially with the DLC included, it might be an interesting way just to get into that world.
See, here's the thing. Even though I'm a mouse and keyboard player first and foremost, I still keep controllers around, because games like Elden Ring, I'm going to play on a controller.
Right. There's certain games I will never play WoW on a controller. Right. I will always go mouse and keyboard for WoW. But if I'm playing like a Sonic game on my Steam, I'm playing that with a controller.
What a timeline we live in. We had Lies of P to escape from the reality of Lies of P. Diddy. Although NS in the chat here is our resident Elden Ring fanatic. He says, I'm late 20s. Elden Ring gave me juvenile arthritis worth of pain in my fingers playing on a regular controller. I cannot imagine playing on the Switch. You'll need spare fingers after. The thing is, Switch controllers are basically just like an Xbox controller, which is...
Mine's right here.
Yeah. Exactly. It's pretty much equivalent to an Xbox controller. So if you have small hands like those of us who are not 7.5 feet tall,
5'8", maybe.
yeah, 5'6". Yeah, I got you beat by 2 inches. Get on my
Damn.
level. Get on my level. Okay. No, so for real though, it's like I generally don't play anything on a controller unless we're talking third person action with a lot of combat and parrying, and that's it. Everything else I play mouse and keyboard, even if I'm miserable doing it. When I played Ghost Runner, you ever played Ghost Runner? That game's fantastic. Ghost Runner is
I've never heard of it.
It was a smaller game. I don't think it was an indie game necessarily, but they actually released a sequel. I picked it up on sale and I haven't played it yet. It's a cyberpunk it's not roguelike in the fact that it's like, it has a fixed story. There's an upgrade system. You can specify, like, pick different things to upgrade, but basically it's a first person action game with a lot of like acrobatics and stuff. You get hit one time, you have to restart from the last checkpoint. But the soundtrack slaps.
Somewhat similar to Katana Zero, except for that was like a side-scrolling roguelike. I don't know if you played Katana Zero or not. But
no,
like,
I didn't.
Roguelike, side-scrolling, yeah, cyberpunk. But yeah, sorry, go on. But yeah, shout out Katana Zero.
But yeah, dude, Ghost Runner is so freaking good. So for me, I'm thinking like, okay, I could have had an easier time playing that game on controller. Definitely with like the wall running and stuff in first person. That was like my first action game I tried playing mouse and keyboard, and it made it like a complete disaster, especially when you get hit one time and you die and you restart. But that being said, there are flat out games that I will not play on mouse and keyboard. And like I said, Souls type games not happening. So can almost hear the Shire theme from Lord of the Rings. Oh yes, I'm a wee lad. All right, let me see here. Okay, so next up we have the Dusk Bloods, also from Software. This is a Nintendo exclusive. Here's my only thing about this game. We talk about the hardware. We talk about the fact that Nintendo's trying to up their game with, again, the visuals. Parts of this trailer, I'm looking at it going, it looks pretty rough, if I'm being honest. And maybe you won't feel the same, but I personally was thinking it was just, I don't know.
So this was one of the last trailers they showed. I was watching it with interest because it was like, when you see this dude sitting in the chair here, I actually thought this was going to be an expansion to Baldur's Gate 3 because he looks like that elf dude.
He kind of looks like that guy. Yep.
So I had no idea what this was. I was like, is this a Baldur's Gate 3 thing? And I won't disagree that it looks rough per se, but I also think that since it is a Nintendo exclusive, From Software put all their eggs in the basket of let's learn to develop for this specific hardware. So it'll probably perform better than if it was a multi-release game.
Right. So NS says, tell Leon before he plays Elden Ring, he should try Sekiro after a stressful day. Great game to relax with. Don't do that. Don't do that to yourself.
I know what Sekiro is. So the Sekiro lore, I've watched like lore videos and whatnot. It's such a cool game, but again, as someone who's never played it, it seems like such a cool game.
So I have finished Dark Souls 3. I never played the DLC. I beat the base game Elden Ring, and then I have gotten halfway through Shadow of the Erdtree. And let me tell you, I mean, as somebody who is a casual gamer, because I don't have the time I used to have, those games will kick you in the nuts until you have nothing left. It's a chore, but at the same time, when you finally beat those bosses and you do the things you didn't think you could do, it's like the entire point of them not having difficulty sliders for Souls games is that satisfaction you get when you finally do it, And
so again, as someone who's not played a whole lot of Souls games, I do have the same sentiment though. Is one of my favorite games of all time. If you're asking me my top at least 10, maybe even 5 video games of all time, I'm going to say Super Ghouls and Ghosts from the old school SNES.
Okay.
That is one of the most punishing games of all time, and I love it. That, like, the amount of months it took me to get past just level 2, and then I've going on. I think I started playing the game when the SNES, when I first got the SNES, which had been like late 90s or whatnot. I don't think I beat that game until like 2013. But I will never forget beating Super Ghouls and Ghosts.
Now, is it just me, or am I wrong? Doesn't this look kind of just... I don't want to say bad. I don't want to say it looks bad, but just when you compare...
It doesn't look like it's blended properly. Like, the lighting on the monster doesn't look like it's fitting with the environment. Now, that could be because the game's still in early stage. This isn't a launch game, if I recall. This game is announced, but I don't think this is a launch game.
2026, I think, is what I saw.
Okay, so this could just be a case of early development, things will be changing. There's still stuff to go into it, but I do get what you're saying from a visual perspective. there's things that are off. I also am the type of gamer, I don't really care about that stuff 9 times out of 10 because I do like more most of my favorite games are not realistic looking. Like Resident Evil is the exception of the rule. Those are meant to be realistic and whatnot.
Right.
At least the modern ones. But I like things like Sonic and Mario and Zelda and Jack and Daxter. And so going for realism has never been a selling point for me. If a game is inherently realistic, but it's also good, I'm down. But whether
it can also ruin a
works-
game, though, to be honest.
Oh yeah, there was this it was called not Metro, Atomic Heart. Atomic Heart was kind of so realistic, but also futuristic that it felt generic because it didn't pick a side.
I
It
will
sort of tried to
say
ride the line of
I
both.
played through Atomic Heart like for about 10 or 12 hours, and then I just recently started playing through it again. I get what you're saying about feeling very stale. And because it looks visually good, but it almost is so good it's kind of bland. It's a weird weird
That's
thing.
the perfect way to explain it. Yes.
Yeah. So it says, why did I stop on the frog with the giant tits? You don't appreciate this? You don't like this amphibious?
I thought it was its croaker coming out. Are those titties? Are those giant frog titties?
Anybody else's stream chugging? I don't know. I just got a really nice Ethernet cable. I'm plugged directly into the router. It shouldn't be the stream.
Oh, they said stream chugging. I thought they were making fun of the fact that I'm drinking vodka on stream. I
Oh,
was
I
like, I
don't-
do this for every stream.
I don't think it's you. It's me, not you. No, so yeah, there's an argument for that. So for example, games like Valhalla, Valheim, when I first got Valheim, I was like, this game looks terrible and it runs really badly. I'm going to refund it. And then after a day or two of thinking about it, I'm like, I didn't give that game a fair chance. Then I went and put like 300 hours on Valheim, right? And I'm like, this game's fantastic. So graphics aren't everything. Games like Hellblade 2, I played that game at launch and I'm like, visually, sure, hyper realistic, terrible game. So,
Oh no, yeah, Hellblade 2 looks great, but
yeah,
you're charging what was it, like $50 or $60 for a 4-hour story? Like
I think it was only 40, but regardless, I mean, it's like you said, it's a 4 or 5 hour story. And it's not a good story. It's a complete, like, if you enjoyed the first game for what the story was, it's a complete polar opposite because the second game's story sucks.
Really? I didn't play it. I just watched like the trailers and the news around it and stuff like that because I didn't play the first one. And I never made any videos about it because I don't like making videos about stuff that I don't know a thing about.
That's a very valid opinion to have, yes.
Yeah, I saw a lot of people talking about Hellblade 2 as a negative. And so, yeah, I assumed it was a bad game, but it is pretty. But it
sucked. It legitimately sucked. It was boring. The combat, so the combat in both games is very simple. You're stuck in a combat sequence. You can dodge, you can attack, heavy attack, light attack, maybe timed parry, and that's about it, right? But it's not a combat first game. It's a story first game with some puzzles and, you know, a lot of lore, a lot of the cinematics, and of course the thriller aspect in the first game is you're hearing all these different spirits talking to you in her head, and it's like this weird. She's having like a psychotic breakdown the entire game, and it's really creepy. It's done very well, and she's trying to travel to hell to find her lost love and bring him back. Right, the whole thing is very cool. The second game, she no longer is suffering from
based off that old Greek story. What is it? The one where like you can't look back if you do, they're gone forever, whatnot. Like where you travel to
not
hell,
so much. It's much more in line with Viking mythology because again, it's set in.
Okay.
She is a. I can't remember if she's Celtic and then in the second game they have Vikings, or if she's a Viking and then they're Celts. I can't remember. But you know, Celtic and Viking is very, very similar in that respect, in the fact that they do have similar shared history. So that being said, the entire premise of the first game ends because at the end of it, you don't know if she is cured of her mental illness. You don't know if it was actually anything that actually happened, if it all happened in her head. It's like, it's very vague, but it's really cool. The second game, oh no, now she's traveling off and she turns into this like leader, and she's got this other female leader that she's looking up to, and it's like, this is like...
So it sounds like quite literally modern Hollywood, the game.
Basically. The second game is terrible. And she no longer is suffering from the voices in her head. It's like they're all getting along now. It's like, no. What made the game great was when you have your headphones on and you're trying to get through this like creepy environment and you hear like all these different voices screaming at her in her head, you know? So it was disappointing.
That sounds like absolute shit.
No, it was very disappointing. So this
I do see on screen right now. Scroll down just slightly before you hit play. Right there, my favorite game of all time, Sonic Adventure. Just wanted to shout out. Now, Sonic Adventure 2, I love it. My favorite game of all time, Sonic Adventure.
Now, I'm gonna break your heart right here, man. I think I've told you before. Sonic has never done anything for me.
To be fair, it's an acquired, especially if you're a Nintendo fan. You were
Right.
like that's the one console. Like, I don't care about console wars, but I do care about like Star Wars versus Star Trek. 'Cause they're fun debates to have. You know, Goku versus Superman. You go to the comic shop or the game shop or whatever, and like you get with other nerds, you start talking shit. So like, I love having to go at Mario fans.
Right. And so the thing is, I wasn't. I'll see again. A new Star Fox
I love
game.
this game.
I'd be
Star
down
Fox
for a new
as well.
Star Fox game. Absolutely.
I would too.
But again, so they have classic Nintendo GameCube games are coming exclusively to Switch 2. So basically, they're holding out on people who have been paying for the Nintendo Switch Online expansion, right? So instead of giving current existing Nintendo Switch Online subscribers these games are going to be reserved for the Switch 2. For whatever reason. No, we can't get a new F-Zero game since the GameCube, but it's going to come to the Switch 2. So that's
a great game. I think it was F-Zero GP Legend was the one on the GameCube. Dude, that game slapped.
F-Zero GX, I think, but whatever
GX,
it was,
that's what it was.
it
GX.
was one of the
GP
greatest.
Legend was the anime. GP Legend was the anime, but GX, yeah,
One
game
of the
was
greatest
great.
racing games of all time. I'm not a huge racing game fan, but my God, that game was so freaking good. And so there's a lot of people who have a lot of mixed feelings about the entire Nintendo Switch Online situation, or paying online to even play video games, right? You buy a game through Steam, you play online for free. That should be the way it works. But if you're playing on console,
well, Xbox, I am disappointed in Nintendo for going this because they didn't do this with the Switch or with the Wii and the Wii U. Online play was just there. It was inherent. Xbox was and neither did Sony to start out. At 360, Microsoft was like pay to play online, and that was a big selling point for the PS3. It was like, our online's free. Then PS4 rolls around. No. Now we're like Microsoft, pay to play online. And Nintendo Switch rolls around. Same deal, but they're notably cheaper than the other two because it's Nintendo.
Right, exactly.
So I don't. At the end, I try to rationalize it at like physical copies of these games or cost exorbitant amounts of money because Nintendo first party games hold their value stupid well.
Are you telling me I'm sitting on a gold mine over here?
I mean, if you've got a bunch of old GameCube and back era games, hell yeah.
Oh yeah, I do.
And paying an extra $60 a year to have a large swath of the NES through currently on Switch Nintendo 64 library, I think that's pretty worth it because it would cost way more to buy these games secondhand. Conversely, though, man, I play on PC. I could emulate. Like I've emulated Ocarina of Time. I've emulated God knows how many GameCube games because Dolphin Emulator is great. So this is more of a convenience factor for me. I still have my GameCube and my Wii. In fact, my Wii is hooked up. And I've still got games for both of them. But I thought you were like move camera and be like, yeah, me too. Like to me, this is more of like it's like having an iPod in the back in like 2007 or whatever, where I've got all these CDs and I can listen to them at home on my CD player. But the convenience of having them on the go is nice. So if I'm going to Vegas in a couple weeks, for the meetup,
yeah,
I'm gonna be bringing my Switch. Well, I'm gonna bring my Switch because on that plane ride. And then maybe I'll play Spyro or Sonic or Mario or whatever it is for the convenience of it, as opposed to would I rather be playing it on the dock on my nice big TV with a controller in hand? Absolutely. But I'm going to be on a plane for 5 hours.
You got to kill time somehow.
Nice. Right.
So again, what we have here coming to the titles that are going to be available, I guess, at launch, you've got Fire Emblem, Path of Radiance. These are all GameCube games. Path of Radiance.
Game. One of the most expensive GameCube games of all time. So the fact that they're making this accessible to people that never play, because I love Path of Radiance. Great game.
I looked at picking this up used at Game Crazy like a dozen times, and I think it was like $20 at the time, and I just never got around to it.
Man, try and find it used now. You're looking at like 140 to 200
I believe it. I believe it. But you remember back in the day, Game
insane.
Crazy was like so easy because it's like they were attached to Hollywood Video, and you just kind of go in and you're like, oh, okay, well, that one's like $10 on clearance. I'll pick that one up. Sure, why not?
Yeah, Path of Radiance, or Path of Radiance. What is it? Path of Radiance.
Path of Radiance.
Radiant Dawn was the Wii one. Is ridiculously expensive. I love it. It's a great game.
Hey, Cinevere, one of your buddies is here.
Yo, Cinny, how you doing, you gorgeous bitch?
Pokemon Gale of Darkness, Super Mario Strikers. I don't see that these Mario spin-off games, like the sports games, I never really got into those too much. Chibi Robo, not one that I played.
I liked what was the baseball one called? There's a baseball one.
Man, yeah, I know what you're talking about.
Sluggers, Super Mario Sluggers on the
yep.
GameCube, I really liked, but I was also a fan of games like what was it, MLB The Heat or whatever. Did you ever play NFL Jam or any games like that?
No, I didn't care for like the art style of those games. I don't know.
I because they were like pro football, but they were also cartoony enough. Like you're on fire and you're gonna actually be on fire. MLB The Heat was the baseball version of like of NFL Blitz, and Mario Sluggers was like a Mario version of a game like that. So I really enjoyed it. But in general, I agree with you. I don't give a shit about Mario sports games.
It's tough because for me personally, I don't want to say I outgrew Mario because I grew up on Mario. If you ask me right now, name top 5, top 3 best video games of all time, I would tell you Super Mario World or Super Mario Brothers 3. I would even argue Super Mario 1, just for nostalgia's sake, are some of the greatest video games. World is the best.
World is the best Mario game. Like of all it, and I love Mario. As much as I dog him for being a Sonic fan, like jokes and jokes. World is one of the greatest games ever made, and it is the best Mario game. I like modern Mario games, but you're gonna have to work hard to pass.
Right.
World.
So for me, after World, once I got my Nintendo 64, I think I was probably like approaching teens. I just never really cared anymore. I got onto other types of games.
Bro, so did you not really enjoy Mario Sunshine? And this isn't a trick question.
I didn't play it. I legit didn't play it.
Not Sunshine 64. I mean, sorry.
Didn't play that one either. I stopped after World.
So I have the hot take, dude. I respect Mario 64 for what it did for 3D gaming, but to me, it's just fine. Ocarina of Time is way more important to me as a game than than Mario 64.
That goes in my other part of that top greatest, 5 greatest games of all time list right there. And I'm sure if I played it now in its current condition, I'd probably look and go, yeah, it's probably pretty rough. But
I replayed Ocarina of Time last year and it held up to an amazing degree.
That's good to know. That's good to know. I know everyone's like, oh, well, there is an unofficial remaster of like one of the dungeons. I'm like, no. I want Nintendo to give me a full remaster of the entire game, not just like some.
The fan remake you're talking about, I actually have downloaded on my PC. I play it. It's remarkably good. It doesn't have the charm of the original, but
it's not the whole game, right?
It eventually it will be. He's putting it out in spurts because he's a one-man dev. The version I have goes all the way up to when Kid Link becomes Adult Link, and that's where it caps. So that's like 40% of the game. And it is all built in Unreal Engine 5, and it's honestly amazing. I streamed it before, like months and months ago. At the time, it only went up to Goron's Mountain, but the fan remake in Unreal Engine 5 is you can appreciate it for the labor of love that it is, but it's not official, so it's not the same.
No,
at least not for me because I'm an official snob. Like
I think it was you and I on Twitter one time, but we were talking about how Twilight Princess doesn't get the love it deserves.
That's my favorite Zelda game. I respect Ocarina. I think Ocarina changed the game, but my favorite is Twilight Princess.
I only played it once, but I remember I freaking loved that game. And I loved how they gave Link chainmail. I'm like, hey, he looks like a dude for once,
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Twilight Princess is underrated.
Yeah, exactly. So you can get a Nintendo GameCube controller.
I'm the sucker that Nintendo made this for because they made these for the Switch 1, and I didn't buy it.
Yeah, I didn't either.
I'm really thinking about because I'm a competitive Smash Bros. Player. I go to tournaments. And
oh my god, I used to be like that, dude. Oh yeah, yep.
I'm thinking that like if I'm gonna be competitive, because they announced all these games are getting like not all of them, but several games are getting like Switch 2 upgrade packs or whatnot. Smash Bros. Is gonna be one of them, and if I'm gonna be competitive in Smash Bros. And the Switch 2 rolls around, I feel like I have to get this controller.
Yeah, I wouldn't blame you for that because I honestly, going back to Smash on the GameCube, that is the absolute best way to play. Patriot says, did you guys watch the Mario and Zelda cartoon series? When I was growing up, yeah, I remember watching both those. That's
why when Chris Pratt got cast as Mario, it didn't bother me because I didn't hear Mario sounding like, let's go. Like I didn't hear that until
I get it. I just, for me, I was just concerned about how it was going to sound with not having the accent, but it worked. It actually worked really well.
Yeah, I was a Chris Pratt defender out the gate, and that's because, and this is going to sound shameful, and I don't mean it to, because I've met the man. He's great. Charles Martinet, the voice of Mario. He's a sweetheart, but he wasn't actually my Mario because I grew up watching the Super Mario Bros. Super Show, and that to me, like that's the voice of Mario. This Brooklyn guy. Like,
yeah, exactly. The big hairy guy,
Yeah.
So we have selected upgrade packs at no additional cost. It says Nintendo Switch Online plus expansion pack members playing on Nintendo Switch 2. Well, okay, it says at no additional cost, but you're paying for online and the expansion pack. This is where, again, they kind of like hide some of the terminology here. Will soon gain access to upgrade packs for both The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom, allowing them to enjoy the Nintendo Switch 2 editions of these games at no additional cost. You must have either The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild or Tears of the Kingdom for the Switch to use their respective upgrade pack. That's kind of a no-brainer. You kind of have to own it first.
Right. I don't have an issue with this because they made it clear that if you don't have Nintendo Switch Online, you can still get these upgrades, but you have to pay for them.
What's this news about Will Smith and his comeback track? What? I don't want to talk.
I don't know about comeback track now. He released 2 tracks 2 years ago. I ain't gonna front. They slap. Like they're
for real?
Now, here's my bias. I'm a big fan of He's the DJ, I'm the Rapper, and Big Willie Style. I unironically love both those albums. But he made 2 comeback tracks with DJ Jazzy Jeff like 2 or 3 years ago.
Okay.
And they are good. So if he's doing another comeback track, I'll check it out and I'll listen to it because I didn't know about that.
All right, so I just went ahead and closed the poll since we're going to jump into the conversation about the price. 38 votes total. 50% say that the price of Nintendo and the games is crazy high. 26% PC Master Race doesn't care. 23% feel it's not a big deal. So,
I voted in this before the chat went live, and I did vote for not a big deal,
yeah.
Which at the time I voted was winning, and very much different now. So
that's how things go. All right, so this is what I think has caused a lot of the big kerfuffle online. I think that's the word that Kilted Cajun used in his video earlier today. Nintendo Switch 2 games.
He already got one out. Fuck, I'm behind him.
Oh yeah,
this.
he released one earlier today, man. Dude,
mine comes out tomorrow at 11, just so you guys know. But Kilted beat me to it. Whatever.
I told Kilted when he was on my stream last week. I used to watch mostly big YouTubers, and I was complaining on Discord yesterday or today to some of the guys that are on there. I'm like, guys, it sounds hypocritical to say, but I don't currently have like any desire to watch most YouTube content, and I think part of it's because I've been so plugged in for so long that even if I release a video, I'm like, it's got to be something I really want to talk about. Otherwise, I'm just kind of burned out on like the news cycle, I'm
right there with you, and I would agree with you with a caveat. I spend almost all my time on YouTube. That's my daily watch, but I don't watch culture war stuff because that's what I'm making. Now, I support my friends that are making those videos, and I watch theirs because I've watched several of yours, Hypnotic, things like that. But I never, if they're covering something that I'm going to cover, I don't watch it because I want to make sure my opinions are my own. So even though all my time is spent on YouTube, it's watching non-culture war stuff. I'm watching conspiracy theory videos.
Well, I think that's a valid way to do it, though, so you don't have a tainted opinion, man.
Right.
So,
but if they're covering something I've got literally no interest in covering myself, I'll watch it because I want to support my homies and make sure their views are up.
That's why it's good to actually follow people who you may not necessarily agree with on a lot of things, because they might cover things that you wouldn't normally talk about. So there are definitely channels I follow that don't cover the same kind of stuff, and I'm like, it's a breath of fresh air,
3 times in the last 3 months, Airbagged has liked my tweets, and it makes me feel so disgusting.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, well, honestly, here's the thing. I've actually... God, I don't know if we're going to get into all that stuff about Grum's demo and stuff, but in talking about this stuff objectively and being like, look, I don't have a dog in the race. I don't hate people like Grums. I don't love people like Grums. It's like, if the game comes out, it comes out. If it doesn't, it doesn't. From what it looks like right now, the demo's not good, right? But if you share anything right now, it's 99% of the time from people that otherwise you would have zero respect for. I mean, that's like one time David Levitt. Is David Levitt the guy that tried to get the girl fired over the toothbrush at Target? He liked one of my tweets one time. And I'm like, oh, no. It was painful. It was really...
it hurts. It really does. Like, oh, man, this is... But by the same token, there are going to be people you disagree with 90% of the time. You've got that 10% crossover, and you got to be like, okay, maybe. What was the one? Oh, yeah, I made a post. Do you follow Yorch Torch Gaming?
He follows me. I don't follow him back.
I haven't. I totally forgot. You and I have talked about.
I haven't. I told you I'm still in that group chat. He's still there. JDA's still there. Grum's still there. I haven't been removed from the chat yet.
Well, I won't say anything that would put you at risk or anything like that. But what I
fuck
will
it.
say
I don't care about being removed. Dude, I'm waiting for JDA to finally be like, oh, you've been too mean and you've said too much bad stuff about us, and I'm gonna remove you. It's like, please. Like, I'm just waiting for him to do. I'm not going to leave. I'm going to make him make me leave.
Oh, and see, yeah, I appreciate that mentality. I've kind of made it just my daily let's have fun. Because I don't even really care that much in terms of I know Yorch is an idiot. I think that the things he posts are I don't even believe he believes them. I think they are truly engagement bait. And so I was like, all right, let's just spend any chance you get to troll this motherfucker. And so he said something about like no gays in games or whatever, and I quote tweeted it, and I was like, for those of you that missed the boat, we don't care if homos are in games. We care if it's forced inclusion in games. Something really innocuous like that. And then I intentionally used the word either homos or queers or whatever, like to still be dismissive and derogatory.
Right.
And airbag like that. And I was like, okay, is he just liking this because it's going against Yorch? He doesn't know me. He doesn't, or if he does, he really doesn't like me because I'm on hypnotic streams and stuff like that.
Oh, man.
But it's just because it's an anti-Yorch post, he's hitting that like button.
Yeah. Okay, here you go. Here you go. Would you pop in there? That'd be great. Thank you.
I haven't seen this. He made a post about the Switch.
Gamers. And
of course.
Then he reposted it himself. Gamers, here are the best and worst parts of Nintendo Switch 2's presentation. What else would you add? Best part, Donkey Kong Bonanza, Mario Kart, GameCube games on the NSO. Presented by 3 men with no blue dyed hair and no piercings.
They're Japanese dudes. Like,
is this his first?
I didn't even think about that. I expect when Nintendo does shit, that it to be middle-aged Japanese dudes because it's Nintendo.
Is this his first time watching a Nintendo Direct? Like, okay, the worst. The game price is around $70 to $80. Now, okay, I will say that that's a fair argument, but it's for a specific reason, not because the price itself, right?
Yeah, there's a couple caveats because I can't
right.
wait till we talk about price.
Right.
I have some maybe unpopular thoughts about.
Actually, I think we're going to be somewhat in line with that, but let's save it for a few minutes here. Okay. Console price $449 doesn't bother me one bit, and I say that because I'll go ahead and kind of like jump ahead on this one. My kid's Nintendo Switch here is 7 years old. I paid $300 for it, whatever it was, $350 in the bundle that it was in, whatever. It's lasted 7 years. I mean, money for your entertainment, how many hours, thousands of hours of use on that. So the base price or the bundle price, $500.
I don't want to spoil too much about my video for tomorrow, just in case there are people here that aren't familiar with me. They're going to watch it. But I'll say this. In my video, I talk about how my SNES from when I was a kid still works.
I'm sure mine would too, yeah.
Still works. My Nintendo 64, I don't know if it works or not because I don't have the cables for it. I just have the shell. But I'd be willing to bet that if I plugged it all up, it would still work. Nintendo builds long-lasting hardware.
Exactly, yes. My GameCube took a leap off of a table, landed on its head while it was plugged in. We picked it back up, and we kept playing Smash. Okay,
dude. One time I was playing Sonic Adventure 2 with my homie. This was years ago, probably like 2013 or something. And we had a projector at the time, not a TV. Like we would project shit onto the wall, and so the GameCube was propped up next to the projector. But because the GameCube was wired, and I got pissed at the game, and I yanked the controller, brought the GameCube down on my head. It knocked me to the floor. The game didn't stop playing.
Dude, honestly, Nintendos are built different, dude. They really are. And now, again, my Nintendo's been in my garage now. My GameCube, I got rid of my original Nintendo because it stopped working. So I still have my Legend of Zelda Gold cartridge. I've got the Mario Duck Hunt, the 3-on-1 cartridge, Simon's Quest, a few of the original games. I don't know if they work. Again, it's the original Nintendo. But all my Super Nintendo shit, I'm sure it still works. The last time I plugged it in, like 10 years ago, it all worked. So he put on here, now again, limited production through fall, that's normal. That's console releases, there's never enough units. That's normal.
That's been the case since like and maybe before then I was just young and didn't know, but that's been the case at least since the PS3, 360, Wii era.
It's an unfortunate state of life. Now, again, remember, this is about the Nintendo Switch 2 presentation. The worst parts, Nintendo did not announce the cancellation of its DEI initiatives like Rainbow or Nintendo Women and Allies.
I feel like it's important to point out, and I don't know if you know this or not, maybe you do, and my apologies. This is not a Nintendo policy across the board. These initiatives I'm at are Nintendo of America. Now, I disagree with these policies, mind you, because I don't like the DEI shit and whatnot. However, this was a Japanese direct. Why would they even talk about that since these initiatives don't exist in Nintendo of Japan?
Because he's retarded. So
I always go back and forth on this. I don't know if he's retarded or if he intentionally obfuscates stuff because it's a W for the culture war. If he gets idiots that don't know he's obfuscating it.
there are people who think that Yorch is like Grum's alt account. There are people who said it's like JDA's alt account. It is not JDA's alt account. I've seen a picture of Yorch.
I thought it was until I saw the two on a show together. I was like, oh, they are two different people.
Yeah.
I actually did think for a long time that Yorch was JDA's alt account.
Yorch, people keep sharing this terrible photo of him, and then he put a real photo of himself out there. I'm like, you're still not doing yourself any favors there, man.
No, it's just as bad.
It's like, here's the thing. I am a short guy with a receding hairline, and I'm not as good a shape as I used to be in. But people who are like...
I would say that you were still on the plus as opposed to the minus in terms of like the objectively. And I'm saying this as a dude who just
no homo.
knows what yeah, no homo, exactly.
Right.
You were still on the plus side of that algorithm or
sure.
whatever.
And the thing is, like, I don't think the world of myself, but at the same time, people are like, oh yeah, show your face. I'm like, you can drop my stream anytime and I'll show my face. I don't put pictures of myself online because I'm not a woman. I'm not like taking selfies in the mirror or whatever like 5 times a day. So that being said,
I can't even say I don't do that. Like if someone takes a photo of me playing the bass that looks good, like this shit going on.
No, that's different though. That's different. That's like if you're doing something and someone captures a good photo of you, I can respect that. That's awesome.
Okay, fair enough.
But it's the whole selfie thing. Like I'm not going to take a picture of myself on my camera just to go ahead and, you know, try to own somebody online. So it's like, whatever. So when they try pulling that shit, I'm like, yeah, I can guarantee you right now that I could probably beat you in an arm wrestling match. I could probably do more pull-ups than you. I could run faster than you. And I probably have a better like BMI than you have. But okay, go off. Oh, I've got 3 kids and a wife. So there's that too. But yeah, the beard is its own thing.
Allegedly beat.
Depends on the day.
Allegedly.
No, for real though. She's told me years ago. And although this has never been an issue, she's like, look, the one thing I could never forgive you for is if you ever put a hand on me. Like that would be it. That's done. Mm-hmm. There are things that, you know, we could probably work through, but it's like the minute you put your hand on a woman, it's done. That's it. It's over. So
I can also say I've done it once. It was an accident. I had a woman, I had a girlfriend, an ex-girlfriend that would actually used to beat me and whatnot. And I to
it happens,
day,
dude.
She one time cracked a beer bottle and held it in my throat, and I still had the wherewithal to call the police and was doing it to her. But there was this one time where I was telling her I was leaving. I was like, I'm done, I'm leaving. And she dropped to the ground and was like hugging my leg as I was trying to walk away. And so when trying to like kick her off, I accidentally kicked her. And even then I felt like the piece of shit because I hit a woman. And like it was like it wasn't even intentional.
Right. What's Leon's opinion on Lucario Smash or Pass?
Here's the opinion I have on Lucario. Great character to play in Smash if you're a good Smash player. Beyond that, fuck Lucario because he was voiced by the same guy that did Goku, and the guy that voices Goku is a beta bitch.
See, I think he was talking about the JDA Smash or
Yeah,
Pass.
he was, but I was trying to avoid anything that could even.
Okay,
like,
I got you.
I got no issue talking mad shit on JDA, but I also don't want to be like, man, if I've given an opinion on this one way or the other, it means I thought the same thoughts as JDA.
Yeah, no, you don't want to venture down that road. All right, so
Right.
back to the Nintendo price, and let's get away from the furries and the Pokemon and all that. Let's get back to hetero gaming. It has been announced the price for games on the Switch 2 will set players back up to $80 for digital and $90 for physical. So I saw Tom Henderson, is he through Insider Gaming? No. Yeah, that's him. This is his article. Okay. He shared one of the original tweets about this. Smash actually put a tweet out there saying, you know, this is not confirmed. It seems like $80 was the physical, or sorry, was the digital, and 70 or 80 was physical, 70 was digital.
I thought it was 80 was physical. Okay, so for Mark, it's different. Here's the thing: it's different game to game. So if what's being reported is true, it's 70 for digital, 80 for physical for Donkey Kong, but it's 80 for digital and 90 for physical Mario Kart.
Okay, so it's going to be different games or different base prices.
And that's hypothetically why I don't inherently have an issue with this. Because let's take third-party developers, your Capcoms, your Activisions, whatnot. They might still be doing the base, both are 70, or better yet, I highly this out, and better yet, base 70, digital 60. Because I've always advocated digital should be cheaper because
sure,
you don't
100%.
have the cost of exactly. The example I use is Tears of the Kingdom. Tears of the Kingdom was the very first, and to my knowledge only, but maybe not, but definitely first, $70 game on the Switch. And a lot of people were upset about that. I wasn't, because I played Breath of the Wild, and I love Breath of the Wild. And I think that, like, I got hundreds, if not thousands of hours of play out of Breath of the Wild, because that came out at a time when I didn't have as many parental responsibilities or a YouTube channel, so I could actually play games
There
for
you
hundreds
go,
or
yeah.
thousands of hours. So when Tears of the Kingdom was announced that it was going to be $70, I'm like, if it is anything like Breath of the Wild, I'm going to have countless hours that could probably justify that $70. So when it comes to games being 80, 90, whatever, to me, that's what it's going to boil down to. Is this a one and done, or will I be replaying this for years, or not even replaying, just exploring the world or whatever, or playing through? Like, I still play Melee, and it's an incredible game. That game came out in like 2003. We're in 2025. So 22 years later, I remember on a kid's allowance, buying a game for $30, $40, $50, whatever it was, is super expensive. But that 30, 40, or $50 in 2003 has carried me 22 years.
Yeah.
So if you're selling a game for 80 or $90 and it does have that level of what Tears of the Kingdom, Breath of the Wild done, I'm actually not inherently against it.
No, and here's the thing, like you mentioned, actually, you mentioned replayability, but I would actually, I'm going to sound like the evil, pro corporate, anti-consumer company here. Like, if you only play through a game one time, but let's say it's like my one playthrough of Elden Ring, because I'm not going to probably play through Elden Ring all over again. I don't have the time. But on my first playthrough without the DLC, I put like 140 hours into that. If you do that, based on the $70 that I paid for the collector's edition pre-order of Elden Ring, 140 hours for one playthrough, what's my dollar per hour? Like,
exactly.
And it was an incredible game. It wasn't just a long, like 140 hours of slop. It was
a mid game. It was like you had fun.
Right. So even without replayability per se, I mean, you always have the option to replay it if you're going to do it. That's up to you. But I think that there is an argument. I know a lot of developers hate the dollar per hour argument because they go, well, you can't judge a game's quality based on how long you can play it. And I'm like, bitch, watch me. Like,
you can, because the length of time you spend playing it is an indicator of how much fun you're having playing it.
Right.
Like, I before Tears of the Kingdom came out, I said, I'm going to end this about 2 weeks before the game came out. So I'm on a time constraint here. I said, I want to 100% complete this game before the Tears of the Kingdom comes out. And by 100% complete, I don't just mean beat the story. Every shrine, every side quest, everything except the Korok seeds, because there's fucking 900 of those bitches. I ain't doing that. But everything aside from Korok seeds. And so I spent 2 weeks. I would get off work. There were times where even though I shouldn't have, I skipped making videos. Like, is my goal to 100% complete this massive open world game in under 2 weeks. And I had a blast doing it.
Yeah. No, and Patriot's right. He says, LOL, bitch, watch me. I agree. But also, just because you can sink 100 plus hours into a game doesn't mean it's good. But here's the thing. If you're going to sink 100 plus hours into a game, clearly it's worth it. Otherwise, you wouldn't be doing it. I think that that's another argument, unless you're a masochist. I mean, I know NS loves playing Sekiro, so... Wait, don't lie to you. No, I enjoyed playing Elden Ring because you know why? I didn't stream it. So I was dying with a Crohn's disease flare-up when Elden Ring came out. I bought it to stream, and then I physically couldn't for like 3 months. And so I played that off stream. And then when I was in the hospital finally recovering from that, I played Breath of the Wild on the Switch, and I'm like, oh, this game's pretty good. So I had a copy of Breath of the Wild I had for like 2 years, and I never got around to playing. And then I played it, and I'm like, damn, this game's good. So
yeah. It's like to the opposite effect of that, because you mentioned being in the hospital. There's this game that came out on the Switch, Pokemon Arceus. I don't know if you're familiar with it.
Yeah, I know the whole Pokemon series. Even though I don't play Pokemon, I know all the games that have come out for the most part. Yeah.
When Pokemon Arceus dropped, the day it dropped, so I already had it pre-ordered and whatnot, because my ex-wife loved playing Pokemon together because we were still married and whatnot at the time, and it was a game that's like, oh, it's an open world Pokemon game. It's crazy. It's insane. The day of or day before it dropped, I got ridiculously nailed down with COVID. And now, mind you, I'm not one of those like, COVID was the worst disease ever. No, I'm anti-vax, the whole nine in terms of COVID, but like it knocked me on my ass. It sucked. It hurt. And so I was like, all right, I'm going to play this brand new game that my ex-wife was awesome enough to go pick up for me, and it's going to distract me from my sickness. It did not. I was miserable playing it, and every time I picked it up to try and play it post-COVID, the symptoms came back. It was like psychosomatic, so I fucking hate that game. It might actually be a good game. I don't know, but I loathe that game because on 2 separate occasions, months and years apart, I tried to play it, and I got COVID symptoms again. Like it imprinted on my noggin.
So hang on, it's not psychosomatic, because psychosomatic is when you think you're going to get sick or you tell yourself you're going to get sick. There's something to that. Okay, so I had, like, for an example, I used to go to the library as a teenager and take, rent CDs and take them home, burn them a copy, like, whatever, the illegal thing you're not supposed to do.
I would do the same thing.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So there was one, it was Live's first album, Bird of Prey, which was actually legitimately a good album. And
I don't know if I ever listened to that album to completion, but I know Live. Actually, their song,
I love you.
Throwing Copper, I believe is the name of it. It was the first song I ever taught myself to play by ear on guitar. So before that, I would look up how to play games.
Yeah, no,
play songs.
No, but great album. But like when I first listened to it, I had a massive stomach ache, and I couldn't listen to it for 6 months without actually feeling sick afterwards. Lugia with the 5 says, "Sorry to say, guys, the price is not going to matter long term. Prices are going to change. Sales sometimes go. People are going to FOMO and still buy." I'm not arguing that they won't. In fact, for $500 for the Switch 2 plus Mario Kart, I would actually say that that's actually not a bad deal.
I would say that's a pretty decent. If the game is going to digitally be $70, if you can hypothetically pay $50 for it and already have what is going to be
digitally $8, so you're actually shaving $30 off the digital. So
right,
yeah.
You're right, yeah, 30. So you're going to have a game that will be, even if you're not a Mario Kart fan, because you said you weren't, there's no denying these are objectively quality games. So you're going to be getting a quality game with your day one Switch for $30 off of what people would normally pay for it. You can throw a fit and bitch and moan, which I understand doing about $80 and $90 games. However, in the context of that is what they're going to be. We have to acknowledge this reality. This is technically a deal.
It is. And thanks for the 5, Luigi. Appreciate it. That's the thing, though. It's like when I bought Tears of the Kingdom, they actually do this thing. Do you have a Costco membership? Do you go to Costco?
They just built a Costco in my city about a year ago. It's our first one. So, because my city is controlled by Walmart, where I live with Sam.
Oh, okay. Got you.
So we only got our first Costco about a year ago. So I actually want to go and get a membership. I've actually never been other side of town from me.
So if you can buy enough money to make the membership worth, or buy enough stuff to make the membership worth it, it's definitely the cheapest place to get like bulk items and stuff, canned goods, all that kind of stuff. And they do
Sam's Club is our version of that.
We got Sam's Club here. Yeah. So I call that poor man's Costco or white trash Costco. It's one or the other. But I shopped at Sam's Club too. I get it. No, it's just the fact that if I didn't have a reason to go to Costco, and if Sam's Club was cheaper, I'd probably go to Sam's Club instead. But no, so for the way Costco does things, because they've got like electronics, they got TVs, computers, they do video games like once or twice a year. They'll have like a couple video games that you pick up the card and take it to the register and purchase it. So they do a digital Costco thing for Nintendo, because Nintendo eShop has that where you buy a certificate, right, for 2 games, and it's like $100. And those 2 tickets will get you 2 brand new games that are normally like $60, $70, and it's only $100 for the 2 of them combined. You go to Costco when they have that on sale. Oh, my camera just shut off. See,
I was waiting for. I was like, is this camera about to die? I see this little battery thing.
I haven't done it yet. I haven't done it. There we go. I have to just refresh it every 30 minutes. So what I did was, when I picked up Tears of the Kingdom, I bought the digital version from Costco. Or sorry, I didn't do the digital version from Costco. I bought the $10 off, $90 for a $100 Nintendo credit, which basically means that my digital version of Tears of the Kingdom through the eShop was only $45. So I shaved like $20 off of it. Yeah, so I shaved like $25 off, because I think was Tears of the Kingdom at release, was it 60 or 70 digital?
It was 70. It was their very first, and to my knowledge only, but I could be wrong about that, $70 game. Right,
so I shaved like $25 off it by buying the $10 off 2 game certificate through Costco and then redeeming it on the eShop. So yeah, I got 2 games, brand new games, $60 and $70 retail for $45 each. So if there are ways you can save money by buying digital, since again we don't own, so I think Oblivion in the chat said we don't own our games anyways, then you might as well buy digital, because you don't own shit even if it's physical. The physical cartridge no longer means anything. I hate to say it, but it really doesn't. If you can't play it offline, if you can't install it or download it offline, then what does the cartridge or the disc even get you at this point? So
yeah, no, and this is the problem I'm having, is people are throwing a fit about these Nintendo cartridges for the Switch 2 not having the game on them or the full game on them or whatever. I'm like, don't get me wrong, I agree it's a problem, but don't be like this Nintendo hate boner that's a Nintendo problem when this has been a problem since like the PS3 or whatever.
It's been it's been a problem since as long as digital gaming has been in existence. Blame PC gamers.
It sucks that Nintendo is going down the same route that these other companies did, but this has been a problem in gaming for 20-ish years now. And we should call it out, but we shouldn't only call it Nintendo. We should call it the industry as a whole for it.
Right, and the thing is, I mean, the industry just kind of works together as far as like when trends hit, the whole industry is going to correct and go together at some point. Nobody in the industry, I mean, Nintendo has done their own thing. They didn't engage in the quote unquote console wars, but every one of these companies in the entire industry as a whole will follow whatever trend that they're all on. So it's like right now the trend is digital releases, getting rid of physical publishers and not having, to worry about having physical copies in stores. And it's like, oh, look at this. We saw Avowed, we saw Assassin's Creed Shadows, all these games that released with these collector's editions that were at base $130 up to two something, I want to say, for Avowed. None of them had a physical copy of the game. Okay.
Yeah. You got these statues and tapestries and collector's boxes, but they didn't actually. They came with download codes for the game. Like when last midnight release I went to, there was like a big deal midnight release. I've gone to a couple since, but the last massive big deal cultural midnight release I went to was Fallout 4.
Right.
And we got like T-shirts and art books and this mini nuke. The inside the mini nuke, you open it up and it's a collection of every other Fallout game. And like we went goddamn ham. But you know what we also got? We got the disc version of Fallout 4.
Yes.
That was insane.
My Halo 2 Steelbook has the disc, and then I think it has a second disc for maps for the multiplayer in it. And that case is so sweet.
Man, them glory days of Halo 2. I missed the first Halo. I didn't get into Halo until Halo 2, and then I retroactively played the first Halo. But man, that was a different beast.
Okay, Halo 2 or Halo 3? I gotta ask you real quick. Which one? Halo 2, which was better?
If I'm playing single player story-wise, Halo 3, but if I'm getting together with buddies to hang game, Halo 2.
I like Halo 2's story better. I don't know.
Really?
Yeah, I've got a soft spot for Halo 2, and I grew up playing the first one.
I think it's because Halo 3 was the culmination. Like at the time, I was too young and retarded to understand, like, oh, if this is a franchise that makes money, it's going to keep going. So I legitimately thought Halo 3 was the end. Like, Halo 3, we're done after this. There's not going to be any more. And, naivete on my part.
Yeah, where there's money to be made, they're going to try to make it. So that's just kind of the nature of how things go. So let's get off Reach here.
Story-wise, I would put Reach above both of them.
Reach is a fantastic story. There's no question there. Reach for me is like basically what the Star Wars show that's actually good but nobody watched it. Andor. Reach for me is to Halo what Andor is to Star Wars. On its own, pretty good. Like, really enjoyable. I just look at it as like being it doesn't feel like a Halo game, It has a very different vibe, and part of that's because all the characters die. It's very dark.
Right, yeah, exactly.
So, ask Leon if you've seen that Asmin clip about the peak of Halo back in early 2000s. They had 1 million active online players.
No, I haven't. And to be fair, I am an Asmongold fan. I watch a lot of Asmongold videos. In fact, I get a lot of people in my comments saying that I'm a discount Asmongold or discount Moist Critical. It's purely, I think, an aesthetic thing. But it doesn't ever annoy me. However, the first few times I saw it, I thought it was funny. You see it over and over, it gets less and less funny. It's like, I wish people come up with new material. Then somebody said in a super chat one time, this dude's a discount Moist Critical. I'm gonna start calling him Damp Scrutinizer, and that was so fucking funny. It was like finally a new version of that joke, Damp Scrutinizer. For like a week straight, every show I went on to, I put instead of Leon Idol, I put Damp Scrutinizer, and I introduced myself as that. I played the character of Damp Scrutinizer. It was a lot of fun.
Put that in your Twitter bio or something. That's gold right there. No, honestly, look, you have more personality. When I've heard Moist Critical talk, he's like, okay, guys, we're going to talk about this thing, and I'm going to talk about... You have too much energy. You've got too much personality. He's very boring.
And I didn't know that before making YouTube videos, because I used to watch him and really enjoy his takes and his content. Then once I started making videos and continued to try and watch him, it was like, oh, I don't, and this isn't to throw shade, but I don't understand why he's got millions of subscribers, because like you,
I don't think it's throwing. Look, it's one thing to be jealous of somebody and to like be just have vitriol for someone to like, why is he successful? No. Criticism is fair. So it's the same as looking at the music industry and go, why are all these retarded pop stars and rappers famous when they have no talent? It's not a jealousy thing. It's like you should be able to critique people even in your own, let's say field in this respect, and the fact that we're all YouTubers. And you can go, look, I understand why my channel is smaller. I understand why some people might be rubbed by me the wrong way. Like, you can look at yourself and be like, okay, I get it, maybe to each their own. But when you look at somebody who's like, okay, like Sneeko, how the hell did Sneeko get famous? I don't get it.
I don't either. And it's wild because Sneeko and Moist Critical had that like
That beef, right? Yeah.
or whatever a while ago, and I was like, holy shit, how did Sneeko come out on top? Because I can't stand Sneeko. I hate Sneeko. How is he the one that actually won this between him and Moist Critical? What?
Exactly. No, that was really really depressing to see. So, back on topic though, Nintendo Switch 2 is region locked for Japanese accounts in Japan because apparently it's only 49,980 yen, which is only 334 US dollars. So if you are in Japan buying this, you're going to save basically over $100, which I guess is fair. It makes sense if it's being produced in Japan that it's not going to have to like have export fees and stuff, right? So this led to
people blaming Trump for this.
Oh, the tariff shit? Dude, oh my God.
Yep.
I tweeted about that. I'm like, every account I'm seeing is like, oh, look at all these tariffs. It's making everything so expensive. It's like, you do realize that the Nintendo Switch is more in every country, not just the US.
Like, it's if it was just the US, you know what? Fair enough. Blame Trump. I still would think the tariff stuff is a good idea, by the way. I see the prolonged vision with all the instant gratification, but this is every country. It's not just Japan. You can't blame Trump for the fucking Switch 2 being more expensive in Spain. Like,
oh, Sneeko was associated with Mr. Beast. That's where he got his start. Okay, well then, I can't say why is Mr. Beast popular or famous because he tapped into like that algorithm. He kind of figured it. Like I've heard about how he got popular. He figured that shit out and basically like did like a.
I've only ever seen 2 Mr. Beast videos, and I will acknowledge they were well made and they were interesting, but they were not well made enough or interesting enough for someone of my taste to want to keep watching.
I've actually never watched a single one of them.
I watched the one that was like a big deal where like he cured blind people and cured deaf people. If you remember those, like those, those are the 2 I saw, and I was like, huh, this is really interesting. That he's putting up his money to do this and whatnot, but
And then all the bloodthirsty leftists are like, how dare you go to Africa and dig a hole for a well for those dirty African people? How dare you help them?
So yeah, am I a Mr. Beast fan? No, not all. Do I understand his popularity? 100%. I think I could be wrong, but like he was only the second ever YouTuber to be on Joe Rogan. It was Philip DeFranco and then him.
That's
there may have been
probably
others
right,
in between, but I don't think there was. It's like, all right, I get it. Like I absolutely get it.
So we see here where it says, this guy Simon Robinow says, you're telling me that in order to play my old Switch games with a better optimization, I have to pay to upgrade each individual game. And this is something like, okay, let's have this conversation about optimization and upgrades and stuff. If, like, for example, I bought The Witcher 3 on Xbox, and I think the upgrade for Xbox was also free. And so when I bought my copy of The Witcher 3 before on Steam, they did the whole free upgrade for all, like the remaster. It was not a remaster, but it's like the visual upgrade for the game, right? That's all free. I didn't have to pay extra for that. That was like part of the game. Like, well, you already own the game. We're going to upgrade the visuals and have it, enjoy basically, whatever. So, of course, this is because the whole thing about you have to have the Nintendo Switch version of a game. And if you have the Nintendo Switch version of a game, you can play the Switch 2 edition by purchasing the upgrade pack. Because again, they wanted to be like, oh, you can play it for free. You can have the upgrade for free if you already own the game. It's like, no, it's own the game plus Nintendo Switch Online plus purchase the upgrade pack. So it's not, it sounds like they're trying to spin it as if this is like some free thing, but it's like.
See, maybe I misunderstood them because I thought it was if you have Nintendo Switch Online, you get the upgrade pack. If you don't, you have to pay for it.
Right.
I could be misunderstanding it, and I'm not sure which it is. Now, in terms of paying for upgrade, well, I don't like that. Again, Sony already does this. It doesn't matter if you have PS Plus or not. When you went from PS4 to PS5, you had to pay for the upgrades, if I recall. They were like $10 a pop, but you still had to pay for them. And not everyone has all these games. Like, of all the games on this list, I have the 2 Zelda ones. I don't have Kirby and Mario Party. Now,
right.
Am I going to pay for a Zelda and Tears, Breath of the Wild, Tears of the Kingdom upgrade packs? Well, I already have a Nintendo Switch Online, so I hope I don't have to. But if I do, and they're like $10 and it adds more than just visuals, it might be worth it. I'm not sure. I have
But
to
if
see
it's
what
just visuals, those two games look really good on their own. So why would I pay
Exactly.
extra to upgrade them?
right.
That I don't know. That just seems retarded to me. But again, this
No,
is something we've seen
I will
before.
say, for Tears of the Kingdom Breath of the Wild, they showed off the difference in the Nintendo Direct, and holy shit, it's striking. Now, is that what you're actually going to get on your TV, the whole, because there's more goes into it than just the game. Is can your TV handle it, things like that. But it was strikingly fluid, and it's like I cannot believe the game can even look like this. That being said, I do think this should be free if I'm paying X amount for Nintendo Online, which I am.
Right. Lugia says some games are free, others there's an upgrade pack. Okay, so it sounds like you don't have to pay to upgrade every game, possibly. Who knows? That's, again, that goes beyond anything that I have knowledge of. This is another thing that's, I don't know if this is just bad verbiage or if this is really concerning. I mean, this is the kind, like we said, this is the whole Ubisoft approach. You don't own your own games. Own nothing, be happy. Again, live in the pod, eat the bugs, right? Nintendo Switch 2.
It's the Ubisoft approach. You could say this is the Nintendo approach. Why did the Wii U fail? Because they didn't know how the fuck to market it.
No,
the Wii U was actually good. I liked it, but like everyone thought it was a Wii extension. It could just be a case of they're retarded and don't know how to talk about this because we've seen that be the case before.
Well, but again, the reason I say Ubisoft is they were the ones who were willing to say it out loud.
Right.
You know, they were the ones that were too stupid to realize you just don't say this thing out loud. You just don't. So it says game key cards are different from regular game cards because they don't contain the full game data. Instead, the game key card is your key to downloading the full game to your system via the internet. Now, I would argue, and this is playing devil's advocate, while this sounds terrible, how is this any different than buying the game on a physical cartridge and still having to plug it into the internet to download the day one patch to install it? Like, it's basically the same thing anyways.
Right. And now we can argue about whether that's a good thing or not. I think that's objectively a bad thing. But again, that's not a Nintendo issue. That's a game industry-wide issue. And
Correct.
so Nintendo getting called out for it specifically, I think, is unfair if they're just following trends that other companies have already set and they've been proven will make money anyway. I'm a capitalist. I can't blame a company for going the money route, the way that makes the money. If people have already shown they'll open their wallets to this shit, why wouldn't you do it? Is it shitty? Yeah, but gamers are shitty for letting this happen to begin with. Hot take.
I mean, to be fair, that's not actually that big of a hot take. Like I was saying before, blame Valve, okay? Blame any browser or launcher where you can purchase a digital copy of a game, because really all of us PC players have been doing this for years now, where we don't mind. Well, some people do. I have people that follow me on here that say I only buy physical, and more power to you. But the majority, unfortunately, has become complacent to just buy, oh, hey, Steam game on sale, $5, I'll pick that up. Hey, my library's got 1,000 games. Oh, wait, what happens if I lose my account, you know?
Right. I will say the vast majority of the games I buy digitally are games I already own physically. When it comes to like big company productions, I don't have Warhammer, Warhammer 2, the game that just came out physically. That was gifted to me. I didn't buy it. I do have Devil May Cry 5 physically. I have every Sonic game I have on Steam. I have all this physically because I'm a fan. The same with Resident Evil, the whole nine. Like, I buy stuff physical. I'm also a collector. I like display shit. Obviously, look at the background, all these expensive.
Oh yeah,
statues.
for sure.
And so I buy physical, mainly just for, I wouldn't even call it preservation because I know that shit will eventually get degraded. It won't work. The whole nine. I like to have nice collectible pieces of things that's just like, I want to display this, or I want to proudly own it. But then I will get the digital edition for the convenience, like I was saying earlier.
100%. Lugia says, $1 million question is this only used once? Thanks for the 2, Lugia. No, I believe this is probably a reusable key, because again, that key is like having, I imagine it's like having your serial key for your software you install, right? So you have to have the serial key to activate it or whatever. So I imagine that this will allow you to like uninstall it, reinstall. I don't think it's a one-time use. That would be insane. And it appears like it's no smaller than a regular game cartridge, so it's the same thing as having those tiny ass cartridges that we have already. It's just it's
also they did sort of answer that. You can do what this was a big deal on the DS back in the day, where if one person owned the game, this is for certain games, mind you, not every game can do this, but if one person owned the game and you're with somebody else who had DS, if you're on the same Wi-Fi, you can play co-op modes and whatnot together with only one person owning it. That's what this will allow you to do. You can actually do game rentals that you could not rental, but game sharing. You share it out to your friends. You could do co-op together. You can manage it across multiple switches if you have multiple switches, like I've already said I do. So it's not just a one and done. The question is going to be how many games can do this? How easy is this? What are the limitations? Like, I feel like there's a lot of questions about the process as opposed to the idea. 'Cause as an idea, I don't mind this. We already saw it on the DS 15 years ago, and it worked like a charm.
No, and like I said, I think this is kind of semantics at this point, that it's only like a activation key or a key card, because again, that's all your physical cartridge is. So I think, again, I don't, even though you could technically go, well, one's a game and one's not, okay, but can you play that game offline? Because if you can't play that game offline or get your updates without being online, it's semantics at that point. It's no different. But
I agree.
But like you were saying, there is a benefit that game sharing thing you were talking about. I think it's up to 3 switches within the same area. That's actually really cool. Say you have some friends that want to come over and play Mario Kart with you, and only one of you has a copy. You can all 3 play Mario Kart together on your own Switch. That legit is a really cool customer friendly thing. I think they're not getting enough credit for the things that are customer friendly, although there are obviously things you can criticize them for, like, again, not having physical copies of games, but that's just kind of the market.
Actually, so you mentioned this hours ago. I don't know if you remember the microphone chat thing.
Yeah,
I don't have a problem with that because the first year is free. After a year, the mic goes behind a paywall, but the first year it's open to everyone. Well, I would think the vast majority of people that would actually use online capabilities for Switch probably already have Nintendo Online anyway. They're already paying for it. So I don't think that it's actually that much of a paywall. Like, if I'm playing Smash Bros right now, it would actually be so much better to be able to talk trash the person I'm playing with, because that's what I do at tournaments. That's what most people do at tournaments.
Well, that's what most of us do, yeah, in general, exactly.
Right. So I don't know. I think the fact they're putting it out for not quite a full year. The Switch 2 comes out in June. This goes the voice chat goes away March 2026. That means you got a whole year to even figure out if that stuff's worth it to you, the whole 9. Now, people can say Nintendo's behind the curve. All these other consoles have had voice chat since the PS3, Xbox 360 era. You're right. Nintendo's behind the curve in that regard. How often is Apple behind the curve? And because you and I both hate Apple, they're doing shit that Android was doing 6 years ago. Once they finally do it, those Apple users are so happy to have it. You know what? They finally get it. They're paying the premium, whatever it may be. I was already going to be paying Nintendo Online anyway, so it's fine for me. And I think the people that are going to be, I think the people that are going to be using this voice chat are probably more than casuals, so they'd want the online version.
I think it depends, because honestly, there's 2 things about it. I was watching Fortango's video on it earlier because he was talking about this stuff. He points out that's like, okay, so the microphone being built into the Switch is a terrible idea, because you're 5 feet away, like playing the game on your TV. How's that going to work? That's going to pick up all the background audio, so that the implementation might not be great. But that being said, there are other parts of it too that are obviously more user friendly. I mean, for handheld, that probably would work better. I imagine that would probably work fine. Maybe there's a function where it can like dampen like the background noise, cut out background audio.
Or maybe there'll be an option to get external mics, and like, I would love to use this mic while playing my Switch. I can't, but I would love to. So maybe the Switch 2 has an option like that, and they didn't touch on it because they want to sell.
Yeah, does it have Bluetooth? If it has Bluetooth, then okay, that solves 90% of our problems. See, DB Wild, like I gotta address DB Wild in the chat, because he made a comment.
DB Wild here, what up, homie? I haven't seen you in a minute.
He made a comment when I mentioned that you were gonna be on stream. He's like, "This guy's in every stream that I'm in, right?" And I thought about it for a second. I'm like, I need to have that clip when you get in here. Be like, I bet Samuel Jackson's in this. He's in everything.
I will happily be the white Samuel L. Jackson, motherfucker. Like,
I wanted to have that one ready to go, but I didn't get a chance. But yeah, Wild is like, okay, well, I might not be there. I see Leon all the time. I'm like, yeah, you'll be here. Let's see. He said, I said it wouldn't show.
I love DB Wild.
But I think the split distribution
system. I apologize.
I think the split distribution system of the game is a means to attempt stopping ROM hacks, since the whole of the game is not on the cartridge. I mean, that's potentially a thing. Wouldn't be surprised if the mic died after a month or 2. I mean, look, guys, we're not going to know until it actually comes out, right? We're not going to know how well any of this stuff works. But here's the thing about it too. Like we talked about,
I think it'll work well. Nintendo's hardware is always good. aside from Joy-Cons for the Switch fucking sucked. I've replaced 3 sets. That's the one black mark on the record. But in general, Nintendo puts out good hardware. I'm not worried about the camera or the mic.
Did you ever try to repair one yourself? Because I actually replaced the latches.
No, I was afraid.
I replaced the latches on one of them. I actually took it apart and replaced the latches for the lock on there. But
you're a braver man than I.
Well, that was around the time I built my computer, so I was feeling adventurous, you know. So I was like, I'll give this a try. All right, so it says Nintendo Switch 2 console games listings at Walmart. Pre-orders start at April 9th. Kirby, Mario Party Jamboree, Tears of the Kingdom, Switch 2 editions listed at $80 in addition to Mario Kart World.
Absolutely not.
Bravely Default and SF6
Tears of the
confirmed.
Kingdom, for example, though, because Tears of the Kingdom was $70 when it came out. It'll be $80 for the Switch 2. So what does that mean? A $10 upgrade? If the upgrade is more than visual and what, again, I don't necessarily have an issue with that if you have to pay a $10 split difference. To me, it's no different than going to like a fast food restaurant and instead of a soda, you want to drink with it and you pay the difference. Like,
yeah, you know, it's unfortunate because I know that there are many, many people who struggle and they're living paycheck to paycheck, you know, can't afford to have like even an extra $10 a month for fast food. But it's like the majority of people who are just kind of floating in the middle of like the consumer class, we are already paying so much for everything, for subscription services, for Netflix, for Hulu, for, you know, that pair of tennis shoes we didn't need that we put on a credit card. It's like most people probably aren't going to bat an eye at an extra $10. We complain about it a lot, but the majority of people will probably just spend the extra $10. Patriot with 2 months membership says, what's y'all's opinion on generative AI in gaming? At the current state of AI, I don't necessarily want anything AI attached to gaming until it gets better. But again, I don't know.
I'm on the opposite end of the spectrum of that, actually. This might be the first time we disagree all night. I don't give a fuck. I think that the vast majority of people in the industry are retarded, are lazy, are entitled. Oftentimes they're getting these jobs at AAA studios and they've never made a game before, and the game suffers because of that, because they don't know how to code properly. They didn't cut their teeth on an indie project, whatever it may be. And so if you're going to put AI in the game, I almost welcome it, because AI at the end of the day is here to stay. Governments have invested hundreds of millions of dollars. It's not going away. May as well accept it now.
This is not an anti-AI statement on my behalf. I'm actually agree with you on the AI part of that. My issue is I have played indie games that were made heavily with AI and they've sucked. So when I say AI, what I'm talking about is the current state of AI. I don't think I want anything to do with AI in gaming right now. In the future, there's potential for it. I just know from... So, for example, there's this game I streamed about a month or two ago. Some of the guys I know, Oblivion was here in the chat when I was playing it, called Sancticide. It was a terrible game. One of the worst games I've ever played, and I got a free copy of it. The developers actually sent me an email this morning after I left my review like a month ago, and they're like, we want you to come back and try the game because we've put a lot of work into this next patch. I'm like, dog, there's nothing redeeming about this game. It was complete and utter dog shit. It will never be good. Because even like the premise for the game was still kind of iffy, and then the combat, the character models, the story, the voice acting, everything was bad, and there was a heavy amount of AI used in the game. So it's like, you're never going to make this game good, right? So I just get a little worried about the heavy use of AI in games in its current state. It's kind of like when you think you've generated this really cool AI image on Grok or on Google, and then it's got 7 fingers. Everything else is perfect. But then when you start looking closer, there's issues, right? So,
man, for my video tomorrow, because I pay for the I just started doing this within the last few days. Actually, just started paying for the Chat GPT paid version, so I can keep generating images. And my main goal is just like use it for thumbnail corrections. Like, I already make all my own thumbnails, but can I color correct stuff like that? And I've used it to test with other thumbnails. It's been fine, but the thumbnail for tomorrow is something I don't usually do, is put my own face on it. I don't normally put me on my thumbnails. I did for tomorrow's video because it's me reacting to this Nintendo stuff. And every time I tried to color correct and get the lighting right, it would change my entire face to where it didn't look like me. And I was like, okay, it's a fucking problem. I don't like it. However, since I rarely put my face on my thumbnails, it still will probably be worth it, because it'll color correct all of whatever's done when there's not a real person there. If there's like some words, a background, switch to unit and maybe like an anime character or a video game character or whatever, if it can color correct all that and it's say relatively the same, okay, it's still probably worth $20 a month. But it would, for whatever reason, it would make my hair brown, it would elongate my face, it would change my eye color. It didn't look like me. I was like, well, I can't use the color correction, so I just ended up having to put out the thumbnail that I made myself. But in general, when I've ran the color correction through the thumbnails that don't include real humans, it looks like it was made in Photoshop as opposed to a free software.
Right. So I think at the end of the day, there are people who are genuinely scared of AI. I'm not one of those people. I don't think AI is ever going to rise up and take over the world. I don't think it's ever going to get to that level. But at the end of the day, there are certainly issues with AI, and until they get better, I think Demi Supremi said it in the chat. You don't want him to use it as a crutch, you know?
Right.
Yeah.
Well, that super chat as well from Demi Supremi.
Yep.
I mean, if you want to read it, pull up the whole 9. But I've got
AI for me, use it as a tool, but have other tools. Thanks to the 2, Demi. That's honestly, that's 100% very valid.
I always chalk up my arguments with AI with a simple statement: the printing press didn't put the pencil out of business.
Correct. All right, so Smash talks about how most games, it seems, despite
this dude,
despite people freaking out.
I'm joking. I stream with him every week. I know.
No, I got to be careful though, because there are people who are getting that way about Smash. Also, I'm like, look, here's the thing with Smash. He screwed up with that whole Assassin's Creed Shadows thing that McDizzle sent him. He defends Grums a lot, which is not something I would do. I've talked with Smash behind the scenes though. I genuinely think he's a good dude.
He is. I totally Smash again. Anecdotally, because I am his friend,
right?
Full bias, whatnot. Smash is a good dude. And by the way, I made a hit piece video against him with the McDizzle stuff. He and Asmongold went at it several months ago. I took Asmongold's side on that. Here's how you know Smash is a good dude. He and I still text each other and hang out and talk, not just on streams, behind the scenes, the whole 9. Smash doesn't give a fuck that I disagree with him on the McDizzle stuff. He doesn't give a fuck that I disagree with him on the Asmongold stuff. In fact, when he did the McDizzle reaction video or whatever, he brought me on as his guest. He's like, because I know you disagree with me and I want to hear different points of view.
Oh, that's good. That's really good. That's actually really fair. So I just wish that he would actually, I just feel like he's defending Grums a little more than he needs. Like, Grums is a big boy. Let Grums defend himself, I've seen Grums demo. I don't think there's anything you can defend. There's just nothing there to defend, but whatever.
It's not even, I don't even think it's about his demo. To me, Grums represents the downfall of at least what I care about in terms of what I was trying to do, what I think a lot of others in our space were trying to do, because I would always do my due diligence in my videos to make sure I'm putting it as accurate. And if for whatever reason I fucked up, I would do one of 2 things. Either make a pinned comment in my video saying, this is wrong, I'm leaving it up to show that people can make mistakes, but I'm wrong. Or I would make a retraction video saying I'm wrong. One of the 2, depending on how bad my fuck up was. I've rarely seen Grums do that. 9 times out of 10, it's a double down. Like, well, I may have made a mistake, but here's XYZ reason.
The doubling down is really what gets to most people, I think. It's honestly, it's like, look, the whole Assassin's Creed Shadows account, ratioing him, it's like, dude, take the L. It was a wicked burn. They did, and
it was.
There are people who said it was botting. Okay, even if all the bots, even if every single hundreds of thousands of likes was a bot, right? It was still a good burn. A ratio doesn't make it not a good burn,
I got my very first million viewer tweet ever just literally today. Ratioed the fuck out of who I was doing. To me, that was I didn't. My tweets almost never get traction. I do not have near the following on X that I do on YouTube. So to me, it was a happy accident. I was just posting some shit I'd have posted anyway.
Right.
Like, there was never any thought into it. How do you manipulate the X algorithm? I was just being a dick. It just happened to blow the fuck up. It'll probably never happen again. I don't know. But the Assassin's Creed stuff, I don't know if it was bots. Maybe it was. Maybe it wasn't. The fact of the matter is, bro, you gotta take an L. And he's not here. And again, maybe I'm biased because I have made both pro and anti-Grums videos, because when he's right, he's right. When he's wrong, he's wrong. Me and Grums have been in conversation about him coming on my show, because we already streamed together multiple times on other people's shows. We were familiar with one another. So why don't you come on mine? We'll hang out. We'll talk the whole 9. He was like, yeah, let's do it. Here's the date. Here's the time. It was confirmed. Then he said some dumb shit. I made a video about him saying dumb shit. Flat out fucking ghosted me. Let me scrambling for a guest on the show because he had told me he had confirmed and wouldn't respond. Like, so from one professional to another, fuck you. That was uncool. So yes, I have a bias against Grums because of that, but I also don't like individuals who are culture war tunnel visioned who will jump to the worst case scenario even if there's no concrete evidence for it.
Oh, sure. And see, my opinion of Grums has been like over the past year and a half of consuming various different opinions on it. And then looking, like I said, just look with your own two eyes. I go, okay, Kickstarter started like almost 10 years ago, $600,000 in funding. We were going to have a demo in 2017. Here we are today. Demo's finally out and it looks like it did, except with darker themes, like nighttime instead of daytime. Doesn't look a whole lot better. I've said this before. I think for Grum's own sake, the easiest thing to do would be like, you know what? We're just going to scrap the game, refund the Kickstarter. I'm just going to be a culture commentator now on Twitter, and you know what? Be happy doing that. But that would require him to be like, oh, I screwed up. The game's never getting done, and I don't like you said, he's going to double down. I don't think he's going to let go of it. So
yeah, and I mean, I don't know. You can take criticism. I can take criticism. A lot of folks in our space can, and that's what used to, I feel like is the key term, be different between us and our, quote unquote opposition, the woke people, this, that, and the other, is they couldn't take criticism. I'd be like, yo, if you're an adult and you want to cut your cock off and live as a woman, I disagree with that, but go for it. You're an adult, whatever it is, what it is. I draw the line at you doing it to children. And like, it doesn't matter if we give them you can do this as an adult. I agree with freedom to do it. They wouldn't take the L. Like, no, we need to be able to castrate fucking 12-year-olds. Like, okay, we have a problem. To me, Grums is the same opposite side of the same coin. Is like, I'm not going to take any criticism for anything I've ever done. I don't want to be a Grums hater or anything to that effect because I was following Grums back in the day before the Elon buyout, before he got banned, and he was being consistent. The things he was saying then are the things he's saying now. So I will give the dude that there is consistency there, but he has gotten too much wrong and not owned up to getting too much wrong. Like I cannot in good faith, as somebody who in my opinion covers the news, not takes a political side, but covers what I consider the news, I can't take you as a viable source. You did that to yourself.
Well, and to be fair, at this point, you're not getting Grums on your channel because you're an enemy of JDA, and Grums and JDA are buddies. So that's never happening again.
There's probably that too. Yeah. I didn't even consider that aspect of it, but yeah, there's that too.
Yeah.
I didn't know until tonight that Grums was in that same group chat that you were talking about.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, he's been in there since, Yellow Flash is in there, Very Dark, a few other people, and most of us still don't even talk. Like, Master of the TDS, Gothic Therapy, he's in there, but he posts his stuff and he doesn't comment on the bullshit, you know?
Yeah, he's a good dude. I've had many conversations with Master of the TDS.
Yeah, he's been on Smash's show, and he stays in his own lane. He doesn't do creator on creator bullshit. But it's like when it was first put together, JDA was like, hey, you want to be part of this group chat? Creators, we're going to try to help support each other and share each other's stuff out. I'm like, it's cool, whatever. And then I saw him add like all these channels that are bigger than mine. Then Grums pops in there. I'm like, oh, what the hell's going on? Like, how did this happen, right? And then it turned into JDA and Yorch just like basically fluffing each other in the chat every day. So it's like, it's gotten to be pretty cringe. So talking about pricing, we're finally getting to this point where we're going to compare pricing then and now. Old Man Graham, I'm sure he tagged you in this, put this out there and says, for everyone losing their minds about $80 games brought to the forefront by Nintendo Switch 2 Direct today, here's a flyer from the 90s for SNES games, and just for my personal life, I remember paying over $70 for Final Fantasy 3 back in the day. Saved up forever to afford that. Keep in mind, back then, minimum wage was $4.25 an hour, and I was making right around that. Now, before we get into the actual pricing, one thing I will say, and this is going to make me sound like an elitist or a snob, which is crazy because I was poor. Like, I grew up poor. My parents were poor until I was probably in my teenage years, right? I cherished and loved video games back when most of us couldn't afford them because there weren't as many of them, and you looked forward to each and every one that you got because you weren't going to have 150 games just sitting around not getting played. So there was inherent quality and value there when they were less accessible, as people like to use that word, right? So again, talking about whether it's, hours of enjoyment or just the quality of the games themselves, I think there's an argument that the pricing was actually fair to a certain degree at the time, given the quality that was put into them. And again, the limited resources. You had less market for video games. It was a small niche audience. You had less qualified developers making them. They had to figure out distribution for them. There was a whole another aspect to this entire thing. Hey, Big Ship.
Yo, Big Ship's here. How you doing, homie? Haven't seen you in a minute.
So I don't know. I don't look at this and go, okay, so video games have always been overpriced. I look at this and go, well, even back then, yeah, this is like equivalent to like 150 upwards of like even $200 nowadays.
Let me I'm gonna blow this up on the other screen. Give me one moment here. Maybe my system's being retarded, but okay, I just had to reload the stream. How many of these did I own? So I owned Mortal Kombat 3. It's actually my favorite Mortal Kombat to this game. I owned Doom on the SNES. So that doesn't really count. What are some of these others?
You got Earthworm Jim 2 here.
I owned the first Earthworm Jim. I didn't get the second. Oh, I did own Batman, that Batman game, Batman Forever. So, all right. So I own 2 of these. Now, I don't know what my parents paid for these because I was younger. They were the ones that bought them, or I started buying games with my own allowance to like the PS1 Dreamcast era, somewhere around there. So back then it was parents buying games for me. But if my dad paid nearly $100 fucking for Mortal Kombat 3 for me, then I am sorry for him because I didn't deserve that.
Right.
Like that is now I love, again, Mortal Kombat 3 is my favorite Mortal Kombat. I'm a Street Fighter guy. I think Mortal Kombat peaked at Mortal Kombat 3. But there is nothing on God's green earth, especially considering inflation and whatnot, that makes me believe my dad should have paid $100 nearly for Mortal Kombat 3 for me. That's insane.
Yeah, because again, at the time, adjusted for inflation, that's like close to what, $200 nowadays? It's absolutely
probably
insane.
Something like that. Yeah.
Yeah, and then you have this here, the Super Nintendo for $200 at where are we at? At Target. Yeah, and Target was already overpriced. Target back in the day, that was like the luxury store. I mean, I remember as a kid, we did not shop at Target. We went to Walmart. We didn't shop at Target.
My dad, this is how you know the difference between men and women. My dad's a Walmart guy. My mom always wanted to go to Target. My dad was like, can we not? Like,
that's just how everything was just more expensive at Target because it was like the fancy place to go shopping. This is like back in the day, though, a restaurant like Olive Garden you dress up for because it didn't used to be just casual, put your sweatpants on and go eat as much pasta as you possibly can. Hey, NS, you have a good night, dude.
Catch you later, NS.
So yeah, you got the $200 system here. That was like the big thing. But my parents, oh my God, when the N64 came out, they didn't buy it the first year again. We were really broke. They bought it the second Christmas that it was out. And the store, I can't remember which store it was, called when my parents weren't home and told us that our system was on hold at the store. And we didn't get it for Christmas because the store ruined the surprise. And my parents were really strict. They're like, if you find out what you're getting, you don't get it for Christmas. And so we missed out on the N64 for a whole nother year because we found out. Yeah, no. And my mom hated video games anyways, okay, so.
See, my family would always do this, you get one big gift and a bunch of small stuff, and which I love. I think that's a great mentality. By the way, it's not me bitching because, like, I remember this one Christmas, I really wanted because I'm a big Toy Story fan. Toy Story is like my favorite Disney movie of all time. That and Pinocchio, and there was this like special edition silver Buzz Lightyear. Like it was the regular Buzz Lightyear, but his armor was all silver.
I think I remember that. Yeah.
Oh man, I wanted it so bad, and so for Christmas, I got 3 gifts that year. I got a soccer ball, I got chalk, but I got that fucking silver Buzz Lightyear. And I was in 2nd grade, and I was over the moon. I was like, this is the greatest thing my family could have ever done. And like, it meant the world to me. I didn't give a damn that we only got 3 gifts. And I was a soccer player. I've been playing soccer since like 2nd or the first grade or whatever it was. So the soccer ball, I got years of use out of it. I was using that same soccer ball up until 6th grade when I finally had to get a replacement. So I got chalk. What 2nd grader fucking wants chalk? A soccer ball, which I used honestly far more than that silver Buzz Lightyear. But I got that silver Buzz Lightyear, and I will never, ever like forget that my parents did that for me.
Yeah, there are toys like that. At the time, I didn't realize how bad, like how expensive they were. There was one Christmas where we didn't have a whole lot, and we were kind of like, "Oh, there's not much under the tree," and my mom was so upset. And then you feel like a complete asshole when you get older, and you go, "Yeah, times were really rough, and everything was like this kind of shit." Okay, Castlevania. Super Castlevania 4.
It was really rough. It was, if I remember right, it was right after 9/11 when everything shut up because like the war and whatnot. So like it was the Christmas after 9/11 when things were just fucking expensive because war.
But yeah, okay, one of the greatest Castlevania games of all time right here, Super Castlevania, or Castlevania 4 Super Castlevania. And this guy was $73. Like, holy crap.
Well, me and I don't know if you're familiar with Indy Andrew or not. He works for Rippaverse. Great dude, love him. Friend of the channel, sweetheart. He and I were talking in chat earlier today in the group chat that I run, and we were talking about how it'll never happen, even though it used to be the case. Games should be priced based on what it costs to produce them. Now, that'll never happen. That's a logistical nightmare, especially if you have uniform prices.
How do you feel about that as a capitalist?
So at the end of the day, I'm actually an anarchist, and I feel like if you're a company, whatever, there should be no government controlling you, this, that, and the other. I mean, anti-regulation, the whole nine. You should be able to charge what you want. If they want to charge $1,000 for Assassin's Creed Shadows, go for it. I don't give a fuck what company set the prices to. Just know that this is your choice, and it's probably going to affect how your product performs. But if that were a case, games being subject to how much they cost to produce, we all know good goddamn well Assassin's Creed Shadows sell like 12 copies. So that'd be like a fucking $1,500 game.
Yeah. No, I mean, here's the thing. It's like the concept of pricing a game based on what it costs to make. I mean, there's a certain element to that. For example, look at like what an indie dev does. An indie dev doesn't have to pay a whole bunch of people, doesn't have to have a whole bunch of overhead. It's just their personal time, sweat, blood, and tears. And at the end of the day, you could pick up a really cool indie game. Like I always talk about Choo Choo Charles, because that game is freaking phenomenal. One dude, he hired some buddies to voice act in it, and that's about it, right? The game, I bought it for like on sale for like,
an indie game with voice acting in itself is already a good indie game.
Yeah. And I think I got the game on sale for like less than $20, right? And sure, the story is like 5 hours long, but like we talked about, Hellblade 2 is like a $40 or $50 game that cost tens of millions to produce, and it's shit. Whereas this other game, I could go back and play it right now and be like, okay, this game's great, and it's an indie game, and it's like he didn't charge $50 for it, didn't charge $80. It was like $20, and I got it on sale. So.
And you got on sale, even if it was on sale, probably like $30. Like it probably wasn't you know what I mean?
No, I think the retail was 20, and I got it less than 20 on sale. So I think I got it for like 14. But no, okay. I got it sub 20. No, I got it less than 20. You know, so I don't know. It's just when you look at these prices, $80 for Donkey Kong Country 2.
We had Donkey Kong Country 2. Like, that was one of the games that we definitely had for my SNES, and like
I had that one.
Not. My dad worked a good job. My mom didn't work, and we lived out in the country, and we were rich poor, if you know what I mean. Like
right.
we were poor, but we were on like the upper echelon to where like we didn't get the PS4 in the first year, but we definitely got it the second year.
We call that lower middle class. That's basically when we weren't broke, we were lower middle class. That's kind of where we were. Yeah. And so like, looking back on this and knowing that there's a chance, and I don't know when we got Donkey Kong 2 in relation to when it came out, because I don't remember that sort of thing. But knowing that there's a chance that my dad spent $80 on Donkey Kong Country 2, and I haven't probably played that game in 25 fucking years, I'm like, man, he could have done. There's probably so many other things, but he did that for us. That's insane of me to think. I mean, they even have like the original Donkey Kong Country here at $79. Like that's absolutely insane. I don't remember these games. Now, I remember when Lion King, the game came out, I remember it was a big deal because...
Me too. I had it on the Genesis, dude.
Yeah,
I had it on the Genesis.
That game for Super Nintendo was like $70 or $80 when it released. And at the time, I had never thought about the price of video games because we didn't have very many. My parents we had the original Nintendo. We had like a dozen games. We got the Super Nintendo, and we had like obviously Star Fox and Super Mario World. But it's like when Lion King came out, I had never paid attention to the price of video games. And then I heard it was like $70 or $80. I'm like, what? That's like... That's big money, you know. That's insane.
I'm a little bit younger than you, so we had a NES, but it was my mom's. So like the games we had, we just always had.
Age shaming. You're shaming my old age here. Good lord.
Yeah, my first console was the Super Nintendo. So when I started gaming on the Nintendo on the NES, we had all the games we already had, which like you was probably about somewhere between 6 and 12 games. Like I know we have We had Mario 1 and 3 because nobody fucking had 2. We
No,
had
2 sucked.
Yeah, 2 sucked. There was a myriad of games that we had. But when the SNES came out, by the time of the Xbox, like that's how long we were buying SNES games, whether it be secondhand at game shops or whatever. We ended up amassing a collection of like 32 games, which at the time seemed massive. Like you look at the PS2, there's like 2,000 games, but for a SNES, we had like 32 SNES games, but we accumulated that all the way up until the drop of the Xbox because that was the first game. We, like I mentioned, divorced child. My mom did not buy a console after the SNES, so all the modern at the time stuff I played was at my biological father's house.
Right.
We went from SNES to Xbox at my mom's home. So between the two, 30, and I can probably name off all 32 games we had. So some of these had to have been bought new. And the ones that were bought new, I honestly feel like tomorrow I should call my dad and say thank you when I'm looking at this. Like,
it's not a bad idea, to be honest, because like even looking at some of these games on sale, the prices are still like 40, 50 bucks. And again, back then I feel like everybody I knew, we were all poor, right? Star Fox for 60 bucks here. We had Star Fox when it came out, you know?
Yeah. I don't know if it was right when it came out or not, but I know like I had it pretty quick, like within the first anywhere from drop to 2 years.
Yeah, it was a new world when we got it.
I had Star Fox. I had Super Mario World. Hell, I had what was the one that had like the compilation of all the Mario games? All Stars. Super Mario All Star. I had Super Mario All Stars. Had Street Fighter 2. Bro, having Street Fighter 2 in the mid 90s, everyone wanted to come over to your place, bro. You were fucking on the SNES. That was the version that had some extra characters. You were playing Blanca. You were playing M. Bison, whatever it may be. Having Street Fighter 2 on the SNES was you were the cool kid.
Yep, yeah, and 70 bucks right there. And then you even had games like this with Ken Griffey Jr. on the front. There you go, Mariners. 50 bucks right there for a sports game. It's like sports games tend to drop in value really fast, especially nowadays. But even
Maximum Carnage, dude. Maximum Carnage to this day is my second favorite Spider-Man game ever. It was the only one in our collection that had a red cartridge. Like what? It's not gray.
I love those colored cartridges. So good. So yeah, okay. So obviously, Old Man Grimm took a lot of time putting this together.
Too. I think Shaq Fu, even as a kid, I knew that game sucked. Shaq Fu was fucking garbage. I couldn't get past the second fight. I hate that fucking game, bro.
So I think we've pretty well established that people are like, okay, don't complain about prices now because look at prices back then. It'd be equivalent to 174.58, blah, blah. Okay, but here's my counter argument. And I put this on Twitter earlier. I think I even said it in the replies down here, but it looks like my reply got eaten. So the thing about it is, you had a smaller market, you had higher production costs because, again, they knew that they weren't going to make as much money back on it because the customer base was way smaller. I'm sure that you had, developers working way more hours than they probably are working now, as far as like these smaller teams working on these games.
Probably with less benefits and shit too.
Less benefits. So again, then you have higher production costs because you're putting physical cartridges out there. They had to be ready day one. They couldn't have a day one patch. There was no internet. There was no install it online. You were getting the full version of the game. So for your money, you own it. Like I said, I can go to my garage, pull all my Nintendo stuff out, and I could plug it in today, and I could play it on my Super Nintendo because I freaking own those without connecting them to the internet. So I don't think it's a fair argument to try to be like, well, price, adjusted for inflation, these games would be $150 today. Yeah, but I still physically have them in my garage, in my tote of Nintendo stuff. So
yeah, if they can be taken away from you at any moment, like if you pay $90 for a game, sure, it might be lower now compared to then for adjust for inflation, but if they can take it away from you at any point, then it's not worth. Frankly, it's not worth anything, in my opinion. It's not only is it not worth a 90, it is not worth a dime.
Right. So I think again, that's one of those things.
I'm an idiot, and if they put out a new Smash Bros. Game and it's $90, I'll fucking buy it because I'm an idiot. So.
Well, I mean, but the thing is, it's not just you. You're not the only one because again, these companies know we can put GTA out there at $100 and it's going to make money. GTA.
That's the example I use in my video tomorrow. Is GTA 6 is the example. It is the go-to. GTA 6 will probably be worth $100. I'm not a GTA fan, by the way. I love the PS2 ones. I
never played them. I never got into them.
The ones on the PS2 are some of the greatest games of all time. Like I'll be real. They're San Andreas. San Andreas for the PS2 was like Halo 2 for the Xbox. It was that much of a cultural experience. Everything from like PS3 and onward, GTA 4 and 5, I guess, is the only two. I don't like them. There's something about them that just isn't the same. So when GTA 6 comes out, I don't give a fuck. I'm not gonna buy a GTA 6. I don't know if it's $50 or $100. I'm not gonna get it because I'm not a fan. But I get the argument as to why it's worth $100. These games are massive. There's people could pay $100 one time, and there'll probably be shit being discovered in this game 10 years from then.
Well,
like
it also depends on what kind of updates they put out. If the DLC is free, or if it's a reasonable amount for DLC, or whatever. There's a lot of value down the road too that people see in those things. Plus the moddability, you can create your own game within the game.
Mm-hmm. But then you're gonna have companies like EA or Activision or games that are not going to be remembered even 6 months later that are also going to be $100. And
right.
It's how that one game or how Nintendo with this one marketing strategy is going to change the purchase culture going forward without fail.
But okay, so you mentioned the other games, and we talked about GTA 6 having the value that maybe will match the $100 price tag. So I guess for me, the question comes down to if one company like Nintendo puts out a Legend of Zelda game, which they don't put out a new Legend of Zelda every year. It's every few years, and they tend to switch up the formula.
To be fair, they do. I actually watched a really interesting video. There's actually about one Legend of Zelda game per year, but there's only one major one every 6 to 7
right,
years. Because you get the little games like Echoes of Wisdom, or you get the little games like that remake of the Game Boy game. But there's only one major one every 6 to 7 years.
But I was thinking console primarily, but yeah, you're right. There have been some other filler ones that have come out within a 12 to 24 month time span. So yeah,
right.
Yeah, there definitely are things that they put in there for filler.
Well, actually, it's just one of those things I never noticed because I thought the same thing you did. Like Zelda games were a rarity, but it turns out only major timeline games are a rarity, and they actually do a lot of spinoffs. I never noticed until recently. Well,
see, this is the problem. Is I'm a mainstream Zelda guy, so the way I look at it, it's the mainstream console, like the ones that you play on the Nintendo Switch, not like I have my Nintendo 3DS or my Game Boy. Okay, Link's Awakening, still one of the greatest games of all time, even the original, and it's a fantastic remake on the Switch.
It holds up. I don't know the last. Oh, you said on the Switch, so you played the Switch, dude?
Oh yeah,
the Switch version. I played it a year or two ago. I was like, holy fuck, I'm playing Link's Awakening on the Switch, and it's so good. It was so fun.
So, I mean, but yeah, the way I look at it is like, okay, so you have Tears of the Kingdom, you've got Breath of the Wild, before that you had the games like Twilight Princess, and before that you had Wind Waker and Ocarina of Time, Majora's Mask. Those span like a 25-year, chunk of time. Or actually, Ocarina of Time is,
Ocarina of Time was 96, if I recall. And then we didn't get another. We got Majora's Mask a year later, which is insane, by the way, for production quality.
That is,
then we didn't get another game until Wind Waker. Wind Waker, and that was 2001 or 2. So we waited 6 or 7 years. And
that was the system jump there. That was the 64 to the GameCube.
Mm-hmm.
And then
people hated it when it came out, by the way. I loved Wind Waker from day one, by the way, but people hated that game.
I never finished it. We rented it from the store. I played it for like the whole weekend, tried to beat as much as I could. And it's like, at the time, I was really, I was an asshole about art style. I'm like, I don't like the art style. I had to get up to where I played Sea of Thieves about 5 years ago. And I'm like, okay, you know what? Art style doesn't mean anything. If the game's good, the game's good. I had to get over that. It was like a lifetime, though, to get over that.
I'm in a similar but opposite boat in that boat because of Wind Waker. I probably would have hated Wind Waker if not for the circumstances I played it. So I don't know if you live in a place that has ice, but
depends on the time of year. But yeah,
where I live, we get it every year, and we in 2000 whatever year it was had a massive ice storm. I live in a big city. We're talking like 200,000+ people, which is at least as big for the Midwest. We had a massive 2-week-long ice storm that basically shut my entire state down. It was insane. My grandpa, being an IT guy, the whole nine, he was prepped. He had a generator, and because they were able to have power, I was staying at my grandparents' house, and they could power the living room and the kitchen, and that was it. And my granny, because until she was a gamer, she had bought Wind Waker because she doesn't know about gaming controversies and people being upset about Wind Waker. She saw, it's a new GameCube game. I want to buy it. And so for the 2 weeks that we had no power to the whole city, I had power, and we had Wind Waker, the new game. And I was playing. I was such a blessed child. While people couldn't fucking go to the grocery store because they had no power, I was playing Wind Waker, and we had food. And Wind Waker made such a massive impact on my life. Now, again, I like Twilight Princess better. Twilight Princess might be the very first like new release game I ever bought my own money because I bought it day one. But Wind Waker was such a massive experience on me because school was canceled for like a month and a half straight because where I live when we get ice. But I got to fucking just hang out with my granny and play Zelda when in 2 rooms that have power. And so that game will always hold a special place in my heart.
And see, I feel that way to an extent about the Halo games. Not that I hadn't already played them and beat them, but like the last time that I was snowed in anywhere, and this was like, this was about 16. So this is before my wife and I got married. This is like 16, 17 years ago. So obviously Halo 2, Halo 3 had already been out at that point. But my brother and I, we were snowed in at my mom's house. And so we were just spent the next 3 or 4 days. We played through every Halo game that was out on Legendary Co-op back to back to back to back. And so again, even like, though I grew up on Halo games, like back when I was 13, the first game came out, I'm pretty sure. Halo 2, Halo 3, playing that game co-op, there's just not a whole lot. I mean, other than playing multiplayer, there's not a whole lot for me that's going to top that because of just the fact that I was able to do that with my brother for 3 days straight, just playing Halo. So getting back to this, because I'm going to forget otherwise.
Sorry, my bad. I want to die.
No, I managed to remember, so you're good. I get distracted easily. You can ask Chad. I'm very, very. We move all over the place when I'm talking. The one thing that I'll say is we were talking about that Nintendo setting a bad precedent possibly by having the $80 game, right? Should Nintendo devalue what they're doing? Let's say Nintendo truly believes, or GTA, the developers think that we have the greatest game of all time. Should we not price it at an equivalent value because we truly believe it's the best thing ever? Because every other idiot company is going to go out there and make their games $80, $100, and they're not worth it. Should a company like Rockstar or Nintendo as a whole, should they not price their games at what they truly believe they're worth because other idiots are going to do the same thing? Or I don't know that Nintendo's.
No, I think they should.
Okay, because I don't think Nintendo should have to worry about whether or not, because again, we all know Nintendo games never drop in price. It's unbelievable. Once in a while, you'll see that $60 game at Target for $20 and you go, I feel like I'm stealing this, Right. So I've done that before. Mario Rabbids Kingdom Battle was one time at GameStop for $15, and I'm like, dude, the next day it was right back up to 60.
Nintendo as a whole, whether it be digital, their own stores, or in physical brick and mortar stores, very rarely drop in price, and that's a testament to the quality of their games. Now, I'm not a Donkey Kong fan. When I watched the Nintendo Direct and I saw that Donkey Kong trailer, I looked at it, I was like, this looks like a good game. This looks like a really, really fun game. However, I don't give a fuck about Donkey Kong. I'm not paying $80 for or 90 or whatever it may be for a Donkey Kong game. But if that had been a Legend of Zelda game, my bitch ass has been like, let's do it. I don't give a fuck. I'm down.
See, we all have that thing that we'll spend the money on because it has a certain amount of either perceived value and quality or significant relevance to us. Again, it's not just nostalgia, though.
I can see the opposite direction because I think I say this in my video, but I could be wrong. You guys have to watch tomorrow to find out. Even if it was $50, I'm not a Donkey Kong fan outside the OG arcade game. I love the OG Donkey Kong arcade games. One of my favorite arcade games of all time. I think I had Donkey Kong Country 2 or whatever it was on the Game Boy. There's a Game Boy Color version.
Right.
I had that, but it's never been one of those things. So even if it was a $50 game, I'd be like, I'll buy it when I buy it. It won't be like this is a $50 Donkey Kong game on the Switch too.
I thoroughly enjoyed the Super Nintendo ones. I gotta say, I didn't continue that after the Super Nintendo. It was kind of like Mario. I didn't continue playing Mario games after the Super Nintendo, but on the Super Nintendo, Donkey Kong Country 1 and 2, I played the hell out of those. Those were great. So moving past everything else, I kind of want to wrap up with this. Here's one more of those things that people are concerned about. The Switch 2's battery life is worse than the original. Now I gotta say, I'm not impressed with the Nintendo Switch battery life. I've noticed when it's off the dock for an hour, you're already seeing that battery start to kind of plummet. And it could be depending on the game. Maybe it's because I have one of the original Switches. I don't know. But battery life for me it's why I don't own laptops. I hate laptops. I hate the fact that you take a computer. Oh, I can take this way anywhere.
I have one for work and that's it. Everything else is all desktop. I have my work laptop because I do work from home and whatnot.
Sure.
And I do IT. But beyond that, I haven't owned a personal laptop since 2019, maybe earlier.
I think mine died in like 2017, and then I bought, a computer from Costco, and then 2019 is when I built my computer. So it's like I now have 3 computers in my house that I've built. I will never own a laptop. My brother, he's military. He came to my house a couple of years ago. He's like, "Oh, that's funny. You still have a desktop?" I'm like, "Dude, I built this thing. My desktop will kick the crap out of your laptop." And it's not even my computer's 5 years old. It's like, no, dude, get out of here. Whatever.
Mine's 7. I can't play Marvel Rivals on mine. I need after Vegas. That's my next goal is a PC upgrade.
Oh, there you go. Meta PCs, just saying.
I know you got a partnership with them, and hit me up with a link. I would. That's the route I was thinking of going anyway. And if I get support of you in this way, let me know. I'll do it.
Dude, for real. And it's not just me saying that. I mean, Zach, the owner, he just freaking messaged me the other day because he's like, "Hey, we have this referral."
No, I actually believe in Meta PCs as a product. I do. I'm actually a big supporter of Meta PCs. Ideologically, I've just never been in a position where I need to upgrade PC. This would be my very first PC upgrade of all time. So if I was probably already going the Meta PCs route. So if I could help a homie while doing it.
I appreciate that. I'm probably going to buy one for work. I got to email him back and be like, dude, is there one that's just like, not base, but like right, because they have some pre-builts that are like around $1,000, got a 4060 and stuff in it. So it's like, it would work for work. I just don't need anything with lights in it for work. Like, I really don't need it to be fancy at all. I just need it to be better than like the freaking Costco HPs and shit, because those things are 2 years and they're toast. All right, so it says, while not discussed during today's Nintendo Direct, a separate spec sheet for the Switch 2 shared on Nintendo's website confirmed that the gaming handheld hybrid console uses an internal lithium-ion battery with a capacity of 5220 mAh. I don't know what mAh is. I'm retarded.
I would think it'd be megahertz, but no, mAh isn't megahertz.
It's something to do with battery capacity. I don't know. I'm not a chemist. I'm not anything scientific. In theory, that nets.
I'm not an alchemist. I can't turn water to gold.
I never liked chemistry as a kid. In theory, that nets out to a battery life estimate of approximately 2 to 6.5 hours. Okay, hang on. 6.5 is fair. What? I guess it would depend on the game you're playing.
5-hour plane flight. I'm gonna take my Switch to Vegas. 5-hour plane flight just to play Spyro or Smash Bros or whatever. Like that's fine. 99 times out of 100, I play my Switch on the dock.
Are the best way.
Is that not how most people play their Switch? Maybe I'm wrong.
I don't like handheld.
On the dock.
If I'm playing it, I want it docked. I want to use the TV or my computer screen. Although my son stole my dock and my capture card. He has them plugged into his computer now.
The only time I don't play Switch on dock is when I'm traveling, and I don't mean like, oh, me and my friends are going to the bar and I bring it for the fucking car drive to the 20-minute bar, right? I mean like. This is a 2, 3, 4 hour drive where I'm getting on a plane. That is it. Otherwise, my Switch is docked.
All
so
right.
6.5 hours or 6 hours, whatever they said, that's fine.
Obviously, okay,
also,
so it's going to depend on the kind of game being played. It says like, indie game maybe upwards of 6 hours, a more chunky game like a mainstream Nintendo title, maybe like 2 to 3, I'm guessing. I don't know. Patriot says, Leon, Palworld or Pokemon?
It's sort of a twofold answer. So, as a general rule, Pokemon, because I think that Pokemon is an actual. I mean, there is a reason Pokemon is the largest IP of all time.
No, say it. Say Palworld's not a real game. Say it.
No. I think Palworld's an incredible game. But here's what I'm going with this. Pokemon as an IP is the largest selling IP of all time. There's a reason for that because they know what they're doing in terms of branding. As a game. I want to see Palworld overtake Pokemon from Palworld doesn't have trading card games, doesn't have anime. So we're just talking specifically as a game. I want Palworld to fucking demolish Pokemon because Pokemon's gotten so lazy and complacent, and there's not been a good Pokemon game in 10 years or something along those lines. Like, fuck Pokemon as a game. As an IP, I love it. I'm a competitive card game player. I play Magic the Gathering. I love there are people going to Pokemon tournaments and they're cracking packs and they're doing drafts and all this stuff. I love the fact that the anime is still keeping kids invested. It's amazing. But from a purely gameplay perspective, fuck Pokemon. They haven't made a good game in years. I want Palworld to bury them because maybe, just fucking maybe, the competition will actually make Creatures Inc. and Game Freak give a shit again. And we can get a good Pokemon game.
I mean, here's the thing. I have no dog in the race because I can count the number of Pokemon games I've played on my, I was going to say on one toe, but I don't have. Look, I have 10 toes, and I've played 0 Pokemon games, so really, I don't care. I love Pokemon as a brand. I love what it is. I love the characters. I love like my kids have watched all the anime. The new anime sucks. The new characters are terrible in my opinion.
I agree. It does. And maybe I want to say because I'm an old curmudgeon, but even as a kid, if I was to look at the new stuff compared to the old stuff, I feel like I would still gravitate towards the old stuff.
I mean, my kids have watched it. Look, my kids are 12 and my twins aren't even 10 yet. And to be honest, like they don't care about the new stuff. I think there's a new season out. They haven't even watched it. They don't care. They're like, Fuecoco sucks.
My daughter's the same. My daughter loves the new games, but I feel like it's because she doesn't know enough about like old school games and stuff to know the difference. But when it comes to the new shows and whatnot, she does only watch the old stuff. And she's 11, so she's right up there with your 12-year-old. So I feel like there's a correlation there.
Yeah. If Palworld had real artists, they would have been embarrassed to copy others' designs. Here's the thing, though. Let's be fair. Didn't Pokemon rip off another brand entirely? Back in the day.
Maybe. So there's a character design. If you're being generous, you can say influence from Dragon Quest, which
right.
Dragon Quest don't like Akira Toriyama. I'm an Akira Toriyama fanboy. He's my fucking hero. He's the Stan Lee of the East. He's even the Tolkien of the East, in my opinion. You'd be stupid not to be influenced by him. That said, yeah, I don't give a fuck that Pokemon was influenced by Dragon Quest. Just like I don't give a fuck that Palworld was influenced by Pokemon. There's only so many ways you could do little toony creature type things.
Right. But they're... To be fair, I do understand why people are critical of Palworld, given how extreme it seems, like how extremely close they skirted the line to basically just copying Pokemon's homework. But again, on the flip side, there's nothing original. Everything's been done. Look, why is it that every game that comes out that is a gothic action RPG type game we call a Souls-like game? Because there's nothing original. Because Dark Souls created it and every other game's copying it, right? So
right.
So I can understand people going, well, Palworld's lazy. Okay, fine. But there's also, everything's been done. Nobody's reinventing the wheel.
And this isn't just a thing for gaming, by the way. You would say the same thing for music. Like, everything that comes out nowadays is going to be derivative of Robert Johnson to Elvis to the Beatles to Michael Jackson to Prince to you can even go into the 90s, say things like the Gorillaz or whatnot. I cannot, at least in the mainstream sphere, I cannot think of an original band. Imagine Dragons is Linkin Park if you made them all homos.
God, I hate Imagine Dragons so much.
I do too. They're quite probably my least favorite band of the last decade or whatever.
There's a few on my list.
Linkin Park mixed. By the way, I'm a Linkin Park fan and I'm a Nickelback fan. Imagine Dragons, Linkin Park had a sex with Nickelback and they all came out gay.
Dude, the funny thing is Nickelback is one of those ones. It's like I'm gonna go see Creed, dude. I'm seeing Creed this year. Okay.
I've worked with Scott Stapp. I don't know if you know this. I actually used to be a booking agent.
That's awesome, man.
So, Scott Stapp. I've heard some horror stories of him in the 90s. By 2011, when I was working with him, he was a fucking sweetheart. I didn't work with Creed as a whole. He was doing a solo tour, but Scott Stapp was amazing. I love that dude.
Yeah, no, I got surprised. My wife bought me the tickets. I think it's Scott Stapp and Three Doors Down. It's Creed and Three Doors Down.
I've never worked with them, but I've seen them live. Three Doors Down was on a great show.
I haven't seen any of them live, and this is like all of my teenage bands all like coming together. So this year in Washington, there are like, dude, like Simple Plan is coming, Yellow Card, Newfound Glory, all different. I'm like, I can't.
I love every band you just mentioned.
There's just no time. There's no time. I can't do it. But Shinedown's coming, and they're one that I've seen live.
I don't like Shinedown. It's not that their music's bad or whatnot. I have a bad taste in my mouth from Shinedown because like I was jokingly so Shinedown, one of the members, I don't know which one it is, one of the members from my city. And I was at our you know how every city has like their local event sort of thing?
Oh, sure. Yeah. I
was jokingly talking shit on Shinedown to one of my buddies. And I didn't know that one of the members was local. His cousin or brother or whatever was standing right behind me and I didn't know it.
Oh,
and he tried to physically start a fight with me for talking shit on Shinedown. And like, because of that interaction, I'm like, well, fuck Shinedown then. I bet your lead singer's a piece of shit as well. If you're a piece of shit, brother, like, he may have been justified. He's sticking up for his family member or whatnot, but like, it was just a fucking bad happenstance life experience sort of thing. It was like, oh, now I gotta just stick my heels in the ground and shine down. Come a contrarian
I
asshole.
can appreciate that. I get it. But what I will say is I saw them 2 days before Trump won back in 2016, and they didn't even talk politics. Nobody was talking about Hillary or Trump. It was really cool. It was a great concert. And as far as concerts go, that is up in like my top 5 best concerts I've ever been to. And
Nice.
do you like Trans-Siberian Orchestra? I mean, I know they're kind of cliche.
Oh, dude, yeah, no, I think Trans-Siberian Orchestra are fucking insanely talented.
Okay, my mom spent.
I've never seen them. My granny and aunt, I mean, the granny mentioned cancer. She went and saw them. I love their recorded music. I want to get the chance to see them. She said they were amazing.
It's not. You have to see them live to really understand it. So my mom bought these tickets 2 years ago for me and my wife and the kids and stuff, and so we all went. I didn't realize that she got like 10 rows back from the stage. And it was like 2.5 hours. My face was melted. I mean, just the laser light show and watching these guys up close with the guitars and shit, it was incredible. So I would say definitely they're worth watching. We could just do a whole stream talking about music because, man, oh my God. There are so many bands I need to...
Which I would love because, believe it or not, see the bass off screen. I'm a musician. That's how I got my start in a lot of this shit was music.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, I've worked with people. Evanescence, Fuel. If you remember Tantric back in the night, my specialty when I was booking shows was 90s revival acts. Sugar Ray, I loved working with Sugar Ray.
Oh my God, I love Sugar Ray. I'm geeking out right now, dude. It's not even funny. You're describing like all of my music from like 17 to 30. Okay. And the thing is, I didn't outgrow it. So like my kids are all like my daughter, she's singing along to Miss You by Blink-182. And it's like she likes Taylor Swift and she likes all this other stuff, but my kids are all like growing up on like the music I grew up on.
I remember my daughter, and I didn't even show her the song. I don't know how she found it, but my daughter got obsessed with the song "Teenage Dirtbag" by Wheatus.
Oh my God!
And I was so fucking proud of her for like a day. But on day 2 through like week 3, I was like, I can show you other 90s shit. Can we fucking please stop listening to Teenage Dirtbag?
My son hates it because my go-to song, if I just want to if I want to feel good, that's like, it doesn't even matter if it's a cringy song or not. You know that song, The Impression That I Get by the...
Oh, dude, my Boss Stones. I didn't work with them, but I worked with Less Than Jake, which was on the same tour. They were touring with My Boss Stones.
Yeah.
And yeah, I love My Boss
Dude,
Stones.
that's the song I crank up, and every time it starts, my oldest son, he's 12, he looks at me like... And I'm like, dude, just feel it. He's like, why do you love this song? I'm like, how can you not love this song? Like, come on, man.
Man, so that song was used in Digimon the movie because Digimon was Pokemon's big competitor back in the day, and Digimon the movie used that as like one of the theme songs for their movie. And that was the first time I heard it because I'm about probably 6 or so years younger than you, and it was like I adore that song. I fell in love with it. They also use Less Than Jake. That whole Digimon the movie album is like ska music.
Oh yeah.
And so when I got the chance to work with Less Than Jake and Real Big Fish, and then found out that Mighty My Boss was on the same tour, I'm like, my life's complete. I can fly now. I'm good. Like,
yeah, I've seen some good bands, but honestly, like all of my bucket list ones are coming this year. I'm like, I can't make it all of them, but I'm gonna try to get to one more. So, really, what I tried to base it off of is like who's coming with who, you know. Boss Tones or Real Big Fish.
Same thing. I saw. Back in like 2016, 17, something like that, I saw the Gorillaz live. That was a bucket list band. Bare Naked Ladies blew my mind. They were one of the best bands I ever saw live. Was Bare Naked Ladies.
For me now, the problem is their music has gotten so bad. Like their new album is so boring. The
last one I listened to was the last album theirs I heard straight through was what was the name of it? It had the song like Fake Nudes and stuff. That may have been the album was Fake Nudes instead of Fake News.
It's
way,
not their new one though.
When I saw them live, they played 2 songs off the new album and all the rest were classics.
Oh, nice.
Like, so it was and sitting, because we were damn close to the front. We were like 3rd or 4th row from the front, but sitting in front of us, and I was maybe 19, 20 at the time, 21 at the latest. Sitting in front of me was this couple in their 60s. So like the generational gap was insane. There were people next to me in their teenage years. And like when they started playing If I Had $1 Million, this old couple in their 60s turned around and started clapping and singing to me and my best friend. You gotta refresh your shit real quick before it goes dark. But we had this like bonding moment with this couple in their 60s all singing If We Had $1 Million together. And it was just adorable.
That's fantastic. No, dude, honestly, like when I was a teenager, I think I was like 17, I went and saw Chicago, And I was the youngest
I
person in
love
the crowd.
Chicago.
Oh, dude, Peter Cetera for me, that's like one of my favorite male singers of all time. But I saw Santana when I was like 18, and again, same situation. We were the only people there that weren't stoned, and everybody else. I know you warned me. You warned me.
I did. I tried, but
You
it is
tried
what
to
it
catch
is.
me. No, so everybody else there was like high and in their 40s, 50s, and 60s. And it's like, I'm there with my friend, and her and I are like, 17 and 18. And it's like, oh well, Santana's awesome. It is what it is.
He's actually Santana's my favorite guitar player of all time. So
The funny thing is, I don't want to call it lazy because I'm not going to say it as I used to play electric guitar. I never really got into it, but like,
still do. I'm not good, but I still do.
Well, I was never good. So that being said, I think Santana, the older he got, it got to be easier. I could just do duets with people and, do a little guitar riff. And
The only Santana song I was ever able to play completely through, because he used to be way too complicated for me to ever play. But then he released a song with Chad Kroger.
Yep. Why Don't
he
You
was
and I?
Into the Night. Huh?
Well-
So he did. Why Don't You and I? He also did Into the Night. And I was able to learn Into the Night all the way through. And I was like, wait. I can play a Santana song all the way through. Am I getting better, or is he just not doing his best? And I to this day don't know the answer.
Little
but
column
probably
A, little column B,
playing guitar, so.
Yeah, it's a little bit of both. Hey guys, before we wrap things up, make sure if you're not already following Leon over at Words of Paradise, go follow him. I am not even kidding. Legitimately, when I first started interacting with Leon, I'm like, okay, this guy was made for live streaming. I tend to be more reserved and more like kind of just boring and dry when I live stream. But dude, I was saying like a week ago, I'm like, I typically can't match your energy when you stream, especially given how late it is over there. It's like it's a little after midnight here. I'm like, I don't know how you're still awake, dude.
Yeah, it's nearly 2:30. I sleep about 3 hours a night, give or take.
Okay, that's healthy. Yeah.
Yeah. I'll usually spend Sunday. I'll sleep the day one on Sunday. I'll sleep 3 hours a night every night for like 6 days. And on Sunday, I just won't wake up till like 7 p.m. But to be fair, I can say the same for you. I hope this doesn't sound insulting. I didn't know who you were. I'd never heard of you until mutual friend Foxy Moxie. Moxie Dame.
I'm gonna try to get her on next week. Yeah.
Oh, that would be fucking awesome.
Yep.
She was talking you up, and I was like, that's crazy because he and I just started following each other on X. I need to learn more about him. And after all these shows she rated into you, and I watched them and be like, this dude's fucking cool. Like, I don't know what it is, but like there's this like classic blue collar vibe about you that it harkens back to the earlier day. Like, I don't know when you got into sort of anti-woke stuff, but
I'm not 90, man. Chill.
I don't know when you got into anti-woke stuff, but I caught it real early. I was there for Gamergate 1. I was watching all these OG Gamergaters, and everything about them was very authentic. That's the best way to put it, the best way to say it. And you've got that same vibe, and it's like this is so fucking refreshing as opposed to like I've said before on other streams, so I'll say it now because I don't care about myself. I don't like Endymion. I got no issue with him as a person. Like, he and I have streamed together, we're fine. We got no issue. But like content wise, I don't like it. But I watch your streams or videos or whatnot, and it's like the dude means what he's saying, and like there's this authenticity. It's very reminiscent of Gamergate 1, which I was there for and a part of, and it's good to know that's not dead. So mad shout out to Moxie for even putting you on my radar.
Well, the funny thing about that is I was not even paying attention during Gamergate 1 because I've said before, I'll say it again. During that time period, 2014, I had a 1.5-year-old and my wife was pregnant with twins. So I couldn't have cared less. I couldn't have cared less about what was going on social media, online. I was like working, like a dog. My brother actually bailed on our entire family business around the time my twins were born. He's never seen them. So I had to pick up a shitload of slack when my twins were born. I was working 6 days a week. So I wasn't paying, I was playing video games to relax. I wasn't spending time online, And so for me, this kind of shit, it really started for me given the fact that as I was playing games like Apex Legends, like 5 years ago, when I first started streaming on Twitch, games started adding more of like, oh, here's your rainbow banner, here's your little pride badge for your character, here's the BLM fist, here's all this shit. So for me, it was more of a gradual noticing of like, why is all of a sudden all this crap's in my video games, right? That's what kind of like did it for me. And then of course the whole Sweet Baby Inc thing kind of really brought it to the forefront. We were talking, so I remember Yellow Flash did videos about Sweet Baby Inc 2 years ago talking about them before it really caught on. And I mentioned them in some old videos. I'd have to go dig to figure out which ones. That there's this company that actually works as a consulting company that does some stuff, but it wasn't like common knowledge at the time. So for me, it was kind of like a natural, gradual shift. It's still the same feeling that I'd have, the same belief I'd have. It's like, why is this shit in my game? I just wasn't vocal about it because I didn't have the time, the platform, or the inclination. That's pretty much all it was. So
well, and I'm in a similar boat in that for me it wasn't gaming. It was so I love gaming again. I keep gaming to be sort of a private hobby. I prefer, unless it's a competitive fighter, I prefer solo games. I prefer, you know, horror games, things like that. And but I've always been a comic book nerd. And I first saw it hit comics before it hit gaming. I was like, yo, what's going on? Why is there female Thor? Why are there now like 6 female Spider-Man variants? And like that was what really hit, because I saw Gamergate 1, but Gamergate 1 wasn't really about, you know, what we look at now as wokeness. It was actually about, oh, these game journalist companies have a political ideology attached to them.
right.
But the games themselves weren't affected yet. It was just the way they were being reported on. But it hit comic books, and I was like, dude, I spend $50 to $100 a week in comics, and they're getting shitty now. And I'm noticing they're getting shitty. And gaming hit a bit, and then you had it hit the movies. And then it finally hit. It seemed like it hit video games last. So when you look at all my older videos, I actually rarely talk about video games, which leads people to call me a fake gamer and whatnot. But it's more of just I hadn't noticed it in.
We lost him. Hey, Leon, just join back into the link real quick. Should pop you right back in. It does that once in a while.
No, you're good. But yeah, it was more about comic books and movies for me at the time. And because I hadn't quite seen it in video games since I wasn't part of the video game discussion.
Right.
It was a me time thing. But once it hit video games, it was like, yo, the fuck's going on? And now we're all here. And I do want it to end. Like there are a lot of folks in the culture war who I feel like don't actually want to see it end because that would be an end to the revenue stream. But if the culture war ended tomorrow, I'll be making Legend of Zelda lore videos. Like I don't give a. I got shit that I can do, and I'm sure my channel will be fine. There are others though that I don't know if they'll be fine.
And it's not just that though. Here's the thing. Yeah, okay. So if this particular culture war ends, if woke versus anti-woke Gamergate 2, if that all ends, if you're just purely like a channel, for example, my other channel, my secondary channel, I cover like, you know, politics, news, entertainment, whatever. It's just whatever random thing going on in the world I want to cover. And that's when I first started splitting my content. It was like a year plus ago. I'm like, I'm just going to make this channel for video games and that other channel for everything else, right? And so there's always going to be something else to talk about. There's always going to be something else to cover, whether it's drama, whether it's gossip. It's like, and if that's the kind of person you enjoy that kind of stuff, there's plenty of it. You don't need this one thing. Well, some people don't. There are creators who have literally done everything based on this one thing. And I find, honestly, even if I don't make a video, like I haven't made a video now on this channel for a couple days, that's going to make a hit. I'm going to lose some subscribers, whatever. But tomorrow I might have something not video game related I want to talk about on my other channel. And I'll actually enjoy talking about it. Having the freedom to be like, well, screw it, today I don't feel like talking about it because nothing speaks to me. I'd rather have that than feel compelled to speak about something that I just don't care about. And that's what I've discovered the last few months. I was trying desperately to keep my channel doing well last year. And then all of a sudden, 10,000 subscribers, great. Brick wall, algorithm shut off, everything's been downhill since. Whatever.
I hit that brick wall about 2 months ago. I went from gaining about 800 subs a month to 33. And it's like, you know what? I don't care. I'm just gonna
same scenario.
I did a video a couple days ago, 2 videos. One about live action One Piece. One about Asmongold's thoughts on the AI takeover. Neither video did well. I don't care. They were interesting to me. It's good enough for me.
Yeah, and that's it. At the end of the day, it's like I tried switching my upload times and this. I'm like, no, my videos typically do best when I get home, get the kids to bed, get them uploaded between 9 and 10 p.m. my time, which is weird because nobody else is awake. I go to bed, I wake up, either I go, oh, that did better than I thought, or I go, okay, well, that one was a miss, whatever, you know? And that's just the way, like, when my channel first started growing, I was doing my uploads at night. I'm like, I'm just going to leave everything alone. I'm going to stop fretting about it, stop stressing about it, because it's not worth it. But yeah, so it is what it is. And like I said, I'm in the exact same boat there, and I'm not YouTube is a nice little bit of extra money. I could never pay my bills through YouTube. I'm not beholden to it because there's no way that I could live off of it. So in that respect,
You and I are actually different in that regard. Like I could hypothetically quit my job now and start doing YouTube full time, and would, if things continue on the trend or continue on, relatively be the same. But that is not because of ad rev or video performance. It's because I am very, very blessed. I want to know that I'm grateful for this and can never pay it back. That I have an audience that is very, very generous, whether it be through memberships or donations or whatever it may be. I make on average now, after doing this about 2.5 years, the same that I make in my full-time job.
that's fantastic.
I
dude.
don't ever want to take that for granted. I also don't have plans to quit my full-time job anytime soon because I don't want to. I want to take the audience for granted. Like, yo, if you don't donate X amount, I'll be homeless. That's just so fucking fucked up. So I look at the fact that I'm doing that on YouTube as like this is great. Maybe in another 2.5 years, I'll take that plunge into doing it full time. I always wanted to be full time on YouTube within 5 years, give or take. But it's not something I ever want to rely on because it comes with relying on other people to effectively pay for your existence, and there's something about that just doesn't feel quite right.
It feels semi-parasitic, right? So
Right.
and that's the weird thing. And by the way, Patriot, thanks again for the 2. He said Daniel's 100% genuine, rare to find. I mean, I say what I mean. So we all have times where
again, as someone who watches a lot of YouTubers, I would 100% agree with that. Again, I don't watch a lot of culture war YouTubers, but I watch you. I watch Atreus. I watch Hypno. And so I would agree with that sentiment. There's if you and I only existed in the same circles because we haven't had mutual friends, I would have been like, I stream all the time. I can't come on tonight. I need to sleep or I need to make videos or whatever. I don't stream with folks that I don't genuinely feel like are in this for the right, whether it be cultural, moral, religious, whatever it be, reasons. So
well, I appreciate
I would
that.
say 100% correct.
I appreciate you saying that because honestly, yeah, it's one of those things I've said before and I'll say it again. Your authenticity is the only currency you have on YouTube. That's generally like the only way that you can even have an audience is if they think. I mean, sure, you can get some outrage clicks pretty fast, and sure, there are channels that have done that. But it's just never going to last, So
Not only is it never going to last, but just the emotional toll of maintaining that seems. Yeah, I don't know. It seems like it would be so goddamn taxing.
I imagine it would be, but that's where it's been nice. Where it's like, look, I know that I'm not going to have as many subs by doing a couple more live streams, every week. But at the same time, it's in a way more relaxing and freeing than stressing about every night going, oh, I've got to make a video. I don't feel like talking about it. I have to sound authentic. No, it's like you can come on here and just be yourself. So
yeah. Oh, and I'm sure when my video comes out tomorrow, and I say, on average, while the gaming prices are getting out of hand, I don't mind that Nintendo's doing it. People are gonna get pissed off. Am I gonna lose subs? Am I gonna gain? I don't know. My video tomorrow, if it even ends up getting viewed, because the algorithm's been shit lately, is gonna be divisive. But that's fine. Like there are folks that don't have audience capture. That's a good barometer for whether or not I can trust someone as a YouTuber that does live streams.
Sure.
Do you have audience capture? There are people that will walk stuff back because their audience is mad at them. I argue with my audience every single stream. I called one of my viewers. I said, I think you're retarded and I think you're mentally weak. I said that to them on Sunday. Guess what? On Monday for my Monday's show, they were back in the chat.
That's fantastic.
Thankfully, I've cultivated an audience that knows that I can be combative with them and they appreciate the diversity of thought. Not everybody gets that. So again, for me, it is a blessing. I never want to take it for granted.
I tell these guys all the time. It's like, look, and there was one stream. I think it was. I had like one beer beforehand. I was a little weepy. And I'm like, just the fact that I have 20, 30 of you guys on a stream hanging out here, I couldn't ask for more than that. It's like you guys are taking your time to be here, Whether it's memberships, whether it's super chats, whether it's just spending time. It's like, dude, even when the algorithm's shit, even when it's like, well, that video, I used to get 50,000 views on a video. Yeah, well, now I get 2. It is what it is,
Yeah, agreed.
You take it off the chin. So... guys, my wife is going to kill me, so I got to go to bed. I'm going to let Leon go. I'm going to plug his channel here one more time. Leon, you can share your final thoughts if you have any, or...
Yeah, final thoughts. I mean, I stream a few nights a week. I stream Monday during the day. Tuesday evening, I have a conspiracy theory show. Has literally nothing to do with the culture war. We just go over various different conspiracy theories, whether it be cryptids, government corruption, whatever it may be.
They're all true, by the way.
I would say 90% of them are. And I just think it's a good way to get away from the culture war. Saturday nights, well, Friday at midnight for me, so Saturday for a lot of folks, we do an interview show. I wanted to get Tebow on it, but that's fucking late for him. So I oftentimes doesn't have him. But at some point, I would love to get you on.
What? Wait, which one? Which one?
So on Friday my time, which is midnight for me, it's 10 p.m. for you.
I'm usually streaming at that point. I'm doing video game stream, so I could always skip a stream and hop on yours. I don't care.
Dude, if you ever want to come on, that wasn't a way to ask you, by the way, while we're live. I'm putting you on the spot one.
You've mentioned it before. You mentioned it before. So no, I just do game streams on Friday, so I could always just postpone one and do your show. I don't care.
Yeah, no, I'd love to have you on. What we do is we do interviews. We splice the news in, but it's mostly interviews with a little bit of news. And then if we hit certain tier goals, we stream on Sundays. Then I try to do at least one video every day. There's been less of that lately because, like I said earlier, I don't make a video about something unless I consider it actually interesting. I never want to outrage a farm or whatnot. And there's just been so much lately that I haven't considered interesting. So my videos have kind of taken a hit, but it is what it is.
And the thing is, some of your topics, you have different opinions. You've got opinions about things like, again, the split fiction thing where it's not the popular opinion. And that's kind of the situation I've run into too. It's like, until things kind of course correct a little bit and people don't realize that not everything is a conspiracy. And this sucks because I'm a big conspiracy theorist, but it's like, not everything.
We need to get you on the tinfoil haters show.
I mean, dinosaurs aren't real. There's that one.
Wait, do you believe that? Do you believe dinosaurs aren't real?
I'm at a point in life where I believe dinosaurs never existed.
I will need a deep dive. Here's the dealio. I have a descendant of a dinosaur as part of my so unless you have an alternative reasons why birds exist, that could be great. But we can talk about that at a later time.
We'll say that for a different time. All right, guys, make sure you go sub to Leon. I'm gonna get some sleep. I'm gonna let him get some sleep as well. Though it sounds like he doesn't survive.
If you came here because I was plugging the stream, make sure you sub to fucking Tebow because he's a godsend. He's a goat. He's a great dude. And if you don't do it for me, do it for Foxy Moxie.
Yeah, do it for her. She's way better looking than I am.
For Foxy Moxie.
No, I had 40K Empress on here she was my first guest, and people are like, "Who's?"
I only recently found out who 40K Empress was. I actually, because of some of the stuff that was going down on X today, because I've been DMing, I was like, "Who's this 40K Empress chick?"
Yeah, no, and some people are like, "Wait, who's the hot European chick?" And I'm like, "You guys don't care what I look like, do you?" It's like,
hey, I feel you. I guarantee, goddamn, because Nure is the guest on my channel on Monday, and I guarantee I'll have a bigger turnout than normal. Not because my show's good, because people want to look at Nure. I know for sure that's the reason.
I don't blame anybody at all. All right,
people are gonna find out that me and Nure are friends behind the scenes, and we talk all the time. They're gonna be like, "Oh, why wasn't she on here before?" Oh, because we're friends. We're not just fucking content whores. I don't need to have her on.
Her and I have talked behind the scenes, and it's like, people get pissed off at one. They don't realize that a lot of us are still friends behind the scenes, even if we disagree.
I disagree with Cult Classic Cage heavily about this Nintendo shit, but I adore her. I still think she's retarded for Nintendo takes.
Yeah, well, there you go. All right, dude. I will catch you next time. Like I said, just send me a link sometime. I'll be happy to jump on yours too.
That's man. I'd love to have you on. Guys, thank you so much. Tebow, thank you so much. It was a great show. I really enjoyed this. Thank you.
All right. Well, hey, thanks for coming. All right, guys, I'm going to get my tired ass out of here now that I'm half an hour past the time I planned on going to bed. But I appreciate you guys for hanging. Again, massive thank you to Leon for coming on. It's been really fun having these guests in here. So I am going to hopefully have, I think, Moxie on here next Wednesday. And then after that, I don't have any people lined up, but we'll see if we can get some more fun guests lined up in the coming weeks here. So thank you guys again all for hanging in the super chats and gifted memberships and stuff. You guys have been too awesome as always, and I will catch you guys on Friday.